That's what I'm talking about. Welcome, everybody, to Adventures in Middle-earth Wilderland Adventures. I am your host, Arvin Elleron. I hope everyone is doing well. It is February 6th, about 20 minutes after 12 on February 6th, on Tuesday. And we are looking forward to an awesome session tonight, today, I should say. I am very excited to get back in the what's the term? I just lost it. Back on the train, basically, for this, because there's a lot of awesome stuff that is coming up very, very soon. If you haven't already done so, please make sure to follow the stream. That would be super helpful. Please also make sure to check out some of the things which you can now see on the offline screen there. If you haven't already done so, please consider checking out the YouTube channel with !ArvTube. Obviously, you can check out our Discord with !ArvCord. That's always happening, always hopping over there. Ways to support the channel in a financial sense are, first of all, the Arv Shop, !Arv Shop, where you can see merchandise, including merchandise for the Infinity and Beyond crew, which is the flagship campaign. Arv Treon will get you over to my Patreon. I want to remind everybody that the Patreon supporting at the $10 or the $20 level will allow you to inspire our players during today's campaign, and you can also do that inspiring the players for the rest of the D&D, and we will have a lot of Dungeons & Dragons and role-playing going on this month, so definitely get on board with that. Also, if you were a $9.99 sub or above, you can also inspire the players once per month, and so that is something valuable to you. If you want to become a sub, you can do that by clicking that purple sub button above the window, and that will also allow you to get a hold of that Arvany hype, that gold hype that you can then use Twitch-wide, which would be really awesome. And then the last thing I want to mention, of course, is the Thunderclap. Now, this is for the Esper Genesis campaign. That's our new science fiction campaign about the game, which is based on 5th edition rules, like this game is. But this one is set in the future. It is a space game, space opera, basically Star Wars meets Mass Effect meets Phantasy Star. It's really, really awesome. And Rich Lescouflair, the developer, the lead designer of the game, the company Alligator Alley is sponsoring us. And Rich is going to be joining us in the opening session as we do our character creation. That's going to be February 23rd. Later this week, we are going to be teasing out the players. We're not going to be letting you know exactly who they are, but we'll give you maybe some hints and clues about the players. Then next week, we will actually announce the official player list, and the week after, February 23rd at 8 p.m., will be the official first session. The Thunderclap, which is kind of like a micro-targeted social media campaign, is going to happen at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Friday, February 23rd. And so we really need everybody to sign up for that. It does not take any extra effort on your part to actually send out the tweet. It doesn't cost any money. It doesn't do any data mining. Nothing bad is going to happen from doing this. It's just something which allows us to sort of boost our profile of this game leading up to it. So if you could please sign up for that. !Thunderclap would be the way to do that. !Thunderclap. If you can click on that, and then when you click on it and sign up for it, you'll see there's a little window that pops up that allows you to share. I just supported Arvin Elleron's Thunderclap, blah, blah, blah. If you could do that too, it's just a one-click button for you to click on that to share it. That would be great. Twitter, Facebook, and I think Instagram is the other one that you're allowed to do the social media forms of for this Thunderclap campaign, but it will really be a big help. At last check, we were at 35 people. We're trying to get up to 100 people. So please do that because it will make a big difference. All right. With that said, though, it is time to return to the land of adventures of Middle-earth, and I am really excited for that. And so with no further ado, I'm going to unmute myself so they can hear that we're just about ready to go. I'm then going to unmute them in Zoom. And then, last but certainly not least, zip. And there they are. There are the wonderful players, the members of the Adventures of Middle-earth crew. There they all are. They are excited and ready to go in their various locations scattered across our globe. And I will begin, as always, with the gentleman right below me, who happens to just always be placed right below me in the window. And that, of course, is our good friend.
Doing that is.
I don't know. I don't know why that's happening. It just happens every time. That, of course, is our friend Trendane. Hi, Trend. How are you? How's life, etc.? It's all right.
I love when people take the time to answer that question honestly by thinking about it.
Yeah, that's what I ask for is honesty.
Okay, no, because that's not what you're getting. So.
Oh, okay. Well, then listen.
Is my way of saying, let's move on. Things are okay in some ways and not so okay in others. So let's just leave it with. I missed the Super Bowl completely. and the memes on Twitter are completely confusing to me in a lot of ways. And okay.
The only meme you need to know is Justin Timberlake wore a really odd outfit. That's really the major meme that you need to know.
Okay.
That and the Patriots lost, which meant that God was working in our favor for one day. But other than that,
the Patriots are one of the teams.
The Patriots were one of the well, yes.
Okay.
Spoilers, jeez.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Patriots are losing a lot in this country. So anyway, there's some scene, image of a kid on his phone, and it's like people are tweeting like an image of that and then an image of something else to go with it, and I have no context for what this thing is. And finally I took enough time to look at it, and I was like, because someone had tweeted that the kid is typing, "Who is Justin Timberlake?" And
yeah, that was because he went up and did this selfie with some during the halftime show, and the kid was just incredibly nervous. You could tell, and just so randomly did what he fell to the comfort of his phone. I guess it was not really totally clear what he was doing.
Right.
But so he became kind of a
meme. It took
meme.
me a moment to realize that was Justin standing next to him.
Oh, yes, he was like,
and I was like, okay, now it's getting funny.
Yeah,
if he's looking up, it's funny and sad because he's young enough that maybe who is Justin Timberlake might be a legitimate question he's asking.
It's troubling. The kid was clearly an actor. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. Who knows? But anyway, weird outfit.
Yeah, so I'm playing Tawny Bear, the Hearthminder, who is a Beorning pacifist. And when the next time we level up, the rift between Inga and Tawny is going to get a lot worse.
Oh.
Oh God, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Yay!
He's leveling up to anti-dwarf, like +5 against all dwarf charisma checks or something.
No, he's gonna. Never mind. Well, you'll find out when we get there.
Yay, drama!
Yay, drama. I'm looking forward to that. So he was wearing an Access badge. Oh, yeah, I believe it. Moving right on down the line, we have, of course, someone who apparently is, I guess he's recovered from how singing some Wonderwall. Is that right,
I
Will?
think it was Wonderwall, and I think there was definitely a Mr. Brightside was in there. And
Mr. Brightside, that's what it was. No, it wasn't Wonderwall, it was Brightside. You're right.
But there is a famous incident in the past where we did do Wonderwall. But yeah, my thumb is like totally fucked because I play guitar with a steel string acoustic. Well, like absolutely smashed out of my mind. So yeah, no. From what I remember, it was good. It was good, and now I'm here. It's been I don't know how long it's been actually, but yeah. Work hard, play hard.
Have you just risen from this experience? Didn't this party happen 2 days ago?
Oh yeah. I mean, we slept for like a good 24 hours.
Jesus Christ.
It's been like really, really ill, so I've been like getting up every 20 minutes to hold her hair while she's sick. So yeah. It's good.
I'm just imagining like the old black and white Nosferatu just out of hand.
Well, it was nice. It was nice to meet a lot of people from the UK like we hadn't ever met in person before, and so it's that kind of thing where it's like, wow, we've got like 3 years of drinking to catch up on. So let's go.
You tweeted a picture of that, right? And with you and Louise and
Louise.
That's what I'm saying. He tweeted the whole playing Mr. Brightside on
Yeah,
Twitter,
I don't know what that is.
Mr. Brightside? It's the song from the Killers. Listen, I'll give you slack on not knowing the Super Bowl memes, but you ought to at least know the Killers, Mr. Brightside.
Yeah.
Oh.
The Mr. Brightside.
Right.
Yeah.
Coming out of my cage and I've been doing just
fine. Yeah.
No.
But no, yeah, I'm good now. I'm looking forward to playing Robar Staunton, who is a lot clearer of head than I am. So,
yes. Yes. And probably would have looked down on you, like, right? Like, would have been very appalled by you.
For socializing at all.
Yeah, like, just like, there's kids these days.
Yeah. He approves of us sitting in a room talking to people on the internet.
Yes. I could imagine that would be the case. Oh, man. Well, it's always a pleasure to have you with us, Will. And I'm looking forward to Robar's work today. Moving right on down the line, we have, of course, Terry, who is not wearing anymore the things she was wearing before. She was telling us this very involved story about, let's see it, yeah.
Yay!
Yeah, so it's a unicorn horn, but it's not just any old unicorn horn. This is not like a buy this for the kids. You wore this for a specific purpose.
I was for a very specific purpose. Like the second to last one day, I don't know. like more than a week ago, basically. Two friends of mine and I, we went to a concert in the Netherlands, Eindhoven, and we went to see the amazing band Gloryhammer, which were absolutely awesome, 100% from start to finish, plus the two opening acts. And yeah, since they have like a unicorn theme going on, my friends and I decided for my friends rather, that we were all gonna wear unicorn horns, which helped a lot because whenever somebody left to go to the bar to get more drinks, they could like easily find us again among the people, because we were all wearing these very subtle horns. Yeah.
I barely noticed.
Right. Right.
It helps to wear like a bright white horn and like a mass of people just wearing black clothes.
Right. Well, it's not polite to comment on growths like horns, so I figure white horns.
It's a bit uncomfortable though with the headphones.
Terry's explanation of what this band does and all their themes was very
Wait, I have a patch on my vest. I'm going to show you. Here, the undead unicorn patch. There it is.
Of course, there's an undead unicorn patch.
I'm going to require a close-up photo of that.
Yeah, you can. I'm gonna get you that after the stream. But yeah, that was. I just saw them twice in 1 week because like first I went to Eindhoven, which is like 1 hour and 40 minutes by car, and then like 2 days later or something, like somebody in the Facebook fan group said something about how they got sick and can't go to the concert in Siegburg, which is my hometown. I was like, oh, they were so good on Monday. I need to go again. So I went again.
Were they just as good?
It was the best concert I've ever been to.
Wow.
It was awesome. It was really good. Like, God
wow.
damn it. Like,
you were wearing the horn again.
Metal.
Right? Were you wearing the horn again?
No, I was not wearing the horn
okay,
that
okay.
time. No.
Okay.
Because I planned on doing a lot of moshing and stage diving and stuff. It was great. Like, people make fun of power metal all the time, but we know how to party, okay?
I can't know why when you're putting a horn on your head, why people would make fun.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Totally adorable. Who are you playing today, Terry?
Oh, I'm playing Inge, a dwarf from the mountain of Erebor. She is a wanderer and a stonemason and all around handy crafts person type.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and last round there was an interesting relation, if you guys watched that, about her motivations and her past.
Yes, we got some backstory about
yes,
Inga,
finally,
which
I
was
was
very
sitting
important.
on for 14.
I know.
For 14 rounds.
I know, but see, that's why you're rewarded.
Yeah.
It was brought up at the right time. That's good. I'm
Yes,
looking forward
I
to.
was saving it for that. So want me to recap what happened for the people who weren't able to watch last time?
I
or-
do in just a minute. I'm
Okay.
going to ask you to do that for just a minute. But first, I would like to have Amal introduce herself to us. Although I see that today Amal is being played by Byron, as I understand it correctly.
By Byron? What,
yeah,
is
you
my
have
hair?
your sign. No, you have the
you.
Byron sign above you. The webcam was up so we could actually see it.
Yes, sorry. Yes, Byron. Yes, I am in the office of, well, it's my office, but it's not always my office. So the other person whose office it is a romantics prof.
Nice.
Yes, hello. Wait, what am I doing?
Yeah,
My name's Amal.
you're saying hi, and Amal. Before we get into who you're playing, you
Yes.
do have to. I mean, the announcement's already been made, so you can officially tell us what is the new awesome position that you now hold. That is of some status and quality. I will say that. You don't have to say that part, but I
That's
will say it.
fine. Well, I mean, I was going to start by saying that I have acceded to the status and quality of an author who has had LeVar Burton read her short story.
That's epic. All right, yeah, that's true too.
But because I mean, of the two announcements, I really feel there was one that was more exciting than the other. But the other cool thing is that I am the New York Times otherworldly columnist. So I write the science fiction fantasy column for the Times every 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. N.K. Jemisin, brilliant author of many series much beloved by me, used to do this, and she stepped down, and they invited me to take over. So my first column is going to be towards the end of February, and I'm going to cover 3 collections of short fiction, or they're kind of hybrid collections of shorter fictions, I guess you could say instead. So yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Pretty awesome. No big deal. I mean, like, whatever. New York Times. I mean, like, whatever.
We actually went. So Stu and actually, when I saw you, because I did, I saw you.
We saw each other. Yes.
We saw each other at in New York last week.
Yep.
And I was down there for two reasons. One, to help launch Bob Wolander's novelette, The Only Harmless Great Thing, which is really cool and full of vengeful elephants and radioactivity and radium girls, and it's a really wonderful story. So I was there to like be in conversation with her and Maria Devana Headley, which was great. But I was also there because it was my husband's birthday that weekend, and decided to like spend it in New York if we could. And one of the things that we did was go to the New York Times and like to the New York Times building and get shown around and sit in on a page one meeting, basically, where all of the editors of the different parts like get together and talk about it. It was absolutely amazing. It was really, really cool. And then it was also terrifying because the editor who brought me in, because they can bring in guests and you kind of just sit at the back and don't say anything, obviously. And then like really early on, after they'd gotten the Washington bureau and the Gainesville bureau on speakerphone, he was like, "So Amal, do you want to just introduce yourself?" And I was like, "No, I absolutely don't want to do that." Are you joking?
Honestly, no.
But I did. I was like, "I'm writing the Otherworldly column now. This is my husband." And then Stu opened his mouth and Scottishness came out, and one of them said, "Oh, so you're the science fiction columnist and you brought your own alien." Like,
oh,
yeah.
That's charming. And then you were like,
you
"Oh," you're like, you sound like Maggie Haberman. You met. I'm glad that the New York Times social coverage can be a little bit different from their news coverage, which I have not been wild about. But anyway, I'm so glad that you're on the columnist side of things. That's cool, though, that you get to sit in on that.
It was really amazing.
Yeah,
it was
neat.
like really fantastic. I mean, just like the amount of attention making in that room was, it was really like sitting in a council of wizards. So
that's awesome.
Segue to talking about, I am playing a woodsman of Rosgobel named The River, and The River is a warden, and she is like a fighty bard, which I like.
A fighty bard. Yes, as opposed to flighty bard, which is definitely not the case. Fighty bard, definitely.
I would be a flighty bard.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's a pleasure to have everybody back in the saddle. I am very glad to continue this campaign, and I'm excited. So let me turn on our music and let's get underway. And we're going to do a little bit of a recap, but before we do that recap, well, actually, no, I'll lead it over to I'll let Terry explain what happened with Inga when I get to this point. The overall point of what they've been doing in this adventure is tracking down a fugitive, a fugitive whose name is Odoric, who originally, when they found this boat with several corpses, including Maravich, who was essentially Bjorn's right-hand man / main sheriff, the guy that was supposed to go from town to town and resolve judicial disputes and bring back people for judgment. He was slain, and the person who was with him was slain, and somebody that they had been clearly bringing back for judgment had escaped. Over the course of this adventure, what the party has discovered is that that person is a man named Odoric, a Bjorning named Odoric, who has traveled all the way back down to his village of Stonyford, where the party tracked him. And when they got to Stonyford, they found that things were not perhaps as they might have expected. First of all, they found that although people were, they had been assuming that they would send Odoric up for judgment along with Maravich, and they were certainly surprised to hear that he might have escaped again, but also that perhaps the circumstances surrounding Odoric's potential guilt, he was accused of having killed someone in that town, may not have been quite what they had expected. There were more complications, let's say. And so Tawny Bear and Robar ended up going to talk to some of the people in town, and specifically went to talk to Helmgut about who was the foster father of Odoric and was also the father of Brunhild. Brunhild's husband is the person who had been murdered. And so they went to talk to Helmgut and found him in a deep funk, essentially not wanting to talk to anybody, but still feisty because he is indeed a warrior. They managed to chat with him, draw him out of his shell, and eventually Tawny Bear was able to connect with him about the level of being a warrior and what it meant to sort of let that warfulness drop from him and pass beyond it. So Tawny Bear got to express some of his pacifism with him as Robar himself continued to kind of suspiciously monitor what was happening around the outside of that place. Simultaneous to gathering of this information, Inga and the River went and traveled, I shouldn't say traveled, they walked about, 75 feet, to the hut of Brunhild, who was, of course, the widow, and talked to her about it, discovering that Rathvik, the one who had been killed, was perhaps not the greatest of husbands. Perhaps there were major issues with that relationship. And at that point, Inga, what happened?
Well, so Inga has been very upset about the whole situation, like visibly shaky about stuff. And like at some point, like after discussing stuff with Brunhilde, is that she like it went back and forth and not getting anywhere. At one point, Hildur snapped and just went, "You are not the only one with a dead husband here." So that was a big revelation that Inge's husband also died. She was married at some point, and her husband died in the Battle of Five Armies. And not gonna reveal any more about that because, basically, that I'm not sure if she actually mentioned that part last time. Well, if I mentioned that part last time about how that motivated her to. Oh yeah, I did mention.
No, you did.
That,
oh yeah, you
no,
did.
yeah, I did. I did
For
mention
sure you did.
that this was her entire reason why she did not stay at the Erebor.
Yep.
But decided to leave again because she did not feel at home there, and she tried to convince Brunhilde to also pack up her things and leave because Brunhilde absolutely hates people in this village for like being
obvious reasons,
so ignorant
Yep.
about Rathvik, or what's his name, and about Odoric. And then she made a promise to Brunhilde about how she is gonna find Odoric and she will listen to him and hear his version of the story and then make her judgment. That was a promise that Brunhilde wanted from her.
Because one of the things that was made clear to the party by Brunhild was that the experience that she had was not... She seemed as concerned for her foster brother as she did for her lost husband, quite frankly. And so the party sort of had to take that under advisement. After that revelation, there were a lot of feels last episode. It was a really good episode, but a lot of feels. After that was concluded, the party met up and decided what they wanted to do, and they concluded that they had to track down Odoric one way or the other. He had set off southwest over the river. They were given the approximate sort of direction, although they, again, are going to have to find his tracks to kind of continually follow him. But he had told Brunhild before he left, he'd come to visit her, and had said that he had escaped and that he was going to disappear, but he just wanted to see her one more time and tell her that he was sorry and that, he was hoped that she would be better, to encourage her also to leave Stonyford and leave these damn people behind, basically, and then departed. And so after some discussion, the party decided, with the help of an analogy from Tawny Bear, where he made a comment about what you would do if animals were suffering, what would you do to try to make their suffering easier. And Inga reluctantly, although somewhat annoyedly, decided that she would go along with them to track down Odoric and see what was going to happen next. And so it is there where we will actually allow them to pick up again. You are standing outside the house, having made this decision, and so I now leave it up to you guys. What do you want to do?
What time of the day is it?
By the time you do this, it's probably still, I would say, maybe not even quite noon. It's probably about 11 o'clock, something like that, because you guys woke up in the morning and went over pretty early to start dealing with these folks. So
we did decide to first check out the clock tower, right? Last time.
Oh, the watchtower?
Yeah, watchtower. Yes.
Could that might have been the case.
I mean, River definitely wanted to do that.
Okay.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah. I mean, if it's on our way out.
Yeah, it definitely
Yeah.
is.
Okay.
It definitely is. You just have to go straight west, and then you'd have to go south again to pick up whatever his trail would be. But yes.
Okay. I mean, she wanted to investigate the clock tower, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, before we went and talked to the people.
Oh.
But
I
am I
don't remember that part. It's possible that you did.
Either way, I think it would be. I mean, it's been mentioned a few times, and it's there, and it's kind of mentioned in connection with some other stuff. So if it's on our way out, I think that she'll say, "Let's go and take a look at it."
Okay.
All right, let's go.
Okay, so the I think actually, let me see if I have this map that will be a little bit. Well, good. How about I zoom out a little bit? Yes, there we go. All right, I'm going to bring you guys over to a map that's sort of zoomed in. I hate not being able to get the thing. There we go. Okay. No, that's not what I meant to do. I tried to drag this all the way over. There we go. Now I got it.
Trying to
I was like trying to pull it across.
Stressful.
3 windows. Okay, there we go. So if you guys are able to bring your tokens over here, just pull them from your character sheets down here. That would be useful.
Yes.
Your tokens. Tokens.
Oh.
I see what you did there.
Oh.
So this is Stonyford, which is right here, and you guys are basically the watchtower is right about there. And the trail, more or less, at least where you know about it, was going this way. Now, at that point, you'd have to follow it beyond that.
I'm sorry. I
Go
can't
to your
actually...
journal. Go to your journal. Grab your character's name. Drag it onto the map.
Ah, okay. Character name map.
There you go.
Ah,
Thusly.
amazing. So around here?
Yes. So right about there is where the tower is. This is just sort of a zoomed-in version of the overall world map. So.
Okay.
Okay, so so the tower is in the same direction as the trail?
Yes, because remember the tower is actually right next to Stonyford was basically built right around it, so the tower's right there.
Right.
Close by.
So it's on the way.
It very much is on the way. You could actually just turn around and walk a little ways over to get to it. Okay. Wait a minute. Why was
She's dead.
why she just died?
I didn't do it. Ah,
River.
I stab her in the back.
I was like, wow. It was a great campaign, and then it ended.
The watchtower's on the way.
Too bad you'll never see it.
These intriguing buttons that are on the map, and like what? This is like
Very tempting, aren't they?
something, and there are all these other. There's a net. What?
Yep, those are all those cool things. It's like demonstrate different, like if you've been slowed, if you've been.
There's a heart. What is the heart?
That normally has something to do with if you've been like buffed
Charmed.
in some way, or sometimes it could be charmed. Yeah.
So I want to say I clicked the X because I thought that would X me out of this window, but it didn't. So I just there we go.
Wait,
Yeah.
but there are 2 hearts. Wouldn't like the one with the crumbling one mean fear spell, something like that?
That could very well be. I think
Yeah.
it's whatever you
Because
want
that's
to
what
do.
it is in Baldur's Gate. So.
Yes, that's actually true. DeRoyan says it's like Amal. It's like Isildur from the movies, like that. Oh no!
Oh,
It betrayed the river to her death. No.
no.
Okay. So you guys are sitting, basically standing very close, where you could just walk up through the village and then up to the area of the watchtower. As you were walking up to the watchtower, which remember is set on a slightly above the rest of the village, basically up on a hill, and there are many stones that have crumbled and kind of rolled down the hill. In fact, there's a little pile of them at the bottom of the hill. So as you walk up, you can see loose bits of this gray stone that have clearly crumbled and fallen down over the centuries. And as you are walking up towards this watchtower, you see in the sky this lone solitary black bird. It's too far away to see what kind of bird it is, but it's pretty high up. You hear just a very distant cawing as it's soaring above you, and you're heading up towards the base of this tower. The tower itself does clearly have what used to be some kind of a gate, but it is obviously long since ruined and fallen into disrepair. There are some walls that still are I don't know, maybe 15, 20 feet high that are, half crumbled and broken. There are a lot of areas that are so crumbled that you could just literally just climb over the rubble to get into the center of the tower if you wish. So there's lots of access points in and out. But even as you go up the hill, standing up on the hill, you can see a pretty decent view. Not because the hill is so big, but because the rest of the land around it is relatively flat. So you get a pretty good, essentially view of the surrounding land. And in fact, you can imagine that if you had been able to get up to the top of the tower in the old days, you would easily have been able to see to the western edge of Mirkwood even, if you, back in the days when it had been that tall.
Okay. So shall we head up into it or look around it? It might be useful to actually, get a lay of the land from a little bit higher up.
That's a good idea.
Okay. There are a set of stairs which are on the inside wall of the tower. As I said, you can get into the tower easily, and they seem to be climbing up as if they once were essentially spiraling around the outside. And there is one set of crumbled walls. For this, I'm going to have to jump out of the time period for just a minute because it just makes too much perfect sense. Have all of you seen The Dark Knight Rises?
Yes, multiple times.
Okay, so the scene where he's trying to get out of the pit, which I would argue is one of the great scenes in Batman ever, where he's doing the whole jumping from one place to the next, that's what it's like. The stairs are climbing, and then there are several places where there's a gap in the wall, where the wall is crumbled, and there's more steps. So theoretically, you could climb up to maybe like 30, 35 feet up if you're willing to make a couple of jumps over to do it. Otherwise, you're only going to be able to get up maybe 10 feet in the air before that first gap that I mentioned appears.
If this was regular D&D and not Lord of the Rings, I would ask if I could build stairs.
Okay, great.
That
or if
seems
this was,
a bit...
yeah. If this is for
that seems a bit
certainly you
outlandish.
can just get some dwarven smiths. 5 years pass, and that's
Yes.
fine.
Interesting. Okay. So River is kind of looking warily around and trying to get a sense of this place and its history.
Okay.
As she's looking at it, is there anything that's kind of visible or even feels wise that is notable? Should I
Make a perception check for me. Also, Stone is sniffing around the stones near you, incidentally.
So we are now having River at the river and Stone next to a bunch of stones.
It does what it says on the tin, right? Like that. That's pretty much
They're
it.
very original and
Yeah,
This is like with Dungeons and Dragons and having a dragon inside a dungeon.
Exactly. The name of this tower? Tower. Odoric is Bane confirmed. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
I expect you to die. Oh man. So
beginning with the terrible perception rolls again.
yeah, well, it's not you don't really see anything visible, River, but you do. There is sort of a faint trace of the feeling of darkness that must have been on this place at one time, but it's very faded. I mean, it's almost you can feel as if the shadow must have had some impact here, but a long time ago, not weeks. I'm talking years and years. Maybe even when the battles first happened and the orcs came in as they told you and swept in the night. This tower was destroyed partially by age, but also partially by orc attacks. And in fact, Robar, are you inside the tower right now, or are you with everybody else?
I'd say so.
Okay, make a perception check for me, please.
Okay.
There's a reason I'm having Robar do it, which I'll tell you in a minute. Robar's like, 2 days on Mr. Brightside. He's yeah.
This is indeed a tower.
I've seen the tower, and it's yeah. So you're mostly looking up actually, and you're like, there's a lot of ruined walls here. You think there was a tower once in this location? No. You're aware that there's a tower in this location, but you definitely feel as if the tower was probably not all just destroyed from age. That there was probably damage in battle that also contributed to its collapse, not just the passage of the years.
I start saying some Legolas level shit, or I say something really obvious, but it sounds super prophetic. Like,
What do your elf eyes see?
there was once something here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We are standing together on this space.
We stand on the steps of our forefathers. Uh-huh.
This is raw stone.
Funny. Oh,
Yes, it is raw
Yeah,
stone.
it is, yes. That's
Their
really
armor
funny.
is weak where it isn't armor.
Right.
Yes.
Oh man.
Um,
Something
like to
non-human is nearby. Like Stone looks up and sniffs at you. Like,
Inga would like to have a look at the inside of the tower to see if she can make out like any like ways to better climb it. You know. With
yes.
her,
Make it
masonry knowledge.
for you. I would like you to make an investigation check, but you can do it at advantage because of your masonry
Nice.
knowledge. Yes.
Okay. Cool.
You're taking the hobbits to Isengard. Yep.
16.
Oh man, I'm glad you did it, but yeah, let's get these rolls out of the way. But yes, so you do think that there might be a way if you were able to take some planks of wood, or even a couple of. There's actually nearby the tower there are a few fallen trees and things like that that you think you could maybe lug up and at least make the first gap relatively easy to traverse. Now, once you get up onto that second area of stairs. It's going to get harder because at that point you're having to like stay on this rather crumbling already piece of stairs and also move the tree and so you don't know if you'd be able to do it past that, but at least you could make that first gap easier to traverse, and that might get you up maybe 15 feet in the air as opposed to the 10 that you could otherwise.
The tower, is it open at the top?
Yes, very much so. It was not at one point,
So
but
could I take my rope, tie it to an arrow, shoot the arrow up in the tower to make it land on the other side, and tie down the rope on the other side or something?
you could
so that
do
we could
that.
Climb that?
You could do that, but you believe that the masonry here and the rocks are so uncertain that it's possible that the weight of someone on the rope as you pull up, as you're like lifting yourself up, could crumble the wall. These things
Are you calling me fat?
Listen, I would say that you are densely structured.
You know, I would not have phrased it that way. I would say that dwarven bones use a different calcium matrix. Say it like that.
This is all scientifically covering the same point, okay?
quick question. So, if River is looking at those jumps, how difficult do they look? Like if she just wanted to, jump up maybe
Right.
One or two of them.
If the stairs were stable, they would be rather trivial. Because they're not, you're going to have to land in such a way that you don't put extra weight on just the edge. Like you'd have to land in the middle, so that's going to make it harder. But is it doable? Yes.
Okay.
Maybe not for Tawny Bear, who might have a...
How difficult is it? Tawny ain't doing it. That's how difficult.
It's higher. It's Tawny difficulty. It's basically lower than Tawny difficulty.
Okay. Basically, she's looking at it going like, I mean, if it's something that's like trying to do the cost benefit of this, if it looks like for someone with athletics too, it wouldn't be that difficult to make at least the first jump. She would just volunteer to do it. But if it, well, yeah, no, she just would, I think.
Okay.
I have to keep remembering that that my good sense and maybe not wanting to injure myself for a party is not necessarily shared by my character. But anyways.
All right. So River is going to try to do this. So you can do that. You can.
Well, can we like maybe
Talk about
go
it,
back to get back to the village to get planks and stuff, so that I could maybe build a ramp or something between the ledges.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how much. So
Yeah,
basically, River would look at this and go, "I could probably just jump up there. If all we want is a look around. But if we all want to explore it and want to take our time, that's fine. I just don't know how much distance is between us and our fugitive."
Well, then, go for it.
Yeah, I'd give it a jump.
All right.
Can't Tony maybe lift you up like the first ledge or something? Up to the first ledge?
Not if he's also going to. Not if she's also going to. Oh, you mean the ledge that she would otherwise jump to?
Yeah.
The problem with that is that once she did that, she'd be grabbing onto the edge of this crumbling stone. The idea of the jump is that she avoids that and lands on the, in quotes, stable part. So.
Okay. Then never mind.
All right.
I mean, you can do whatever you want. You know, I'm just telling you what you see.
That's fair. That's good. Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to try it. So you're able to go up the first few steps and then kind of position yourself. I will need you to make here, the jump is not a strength-based thing. Acrobatics would help. I need dexterity to see how you land on the other side. So if you have acrobatics, I'll take it. If not, then just...
Oh, sorry.
And it'll say on the sheet if it's on your character sheet if it's a skill that you possess that you're proficient in or not. And
there's
if not,
no
then it's
check mark next to it.
okay. So then no. So then it's just a dexterity check that you're
Just
making.
dexterity check.
Yep.
Okay.
And not a saving throw, a check.
So just the dexterity.
Okay. So you jump over relatively lightly. You land. As you land, there's this alarming like, and there's like several stones and things that like shower down from the outside of that stairs. But otherwise, it stays up, and you are now able to see a little bit higher than you could before. You're high enough now that you can see a little bit over the river and the tree line. There's not many trees around, but into the West Anduin Vales that you see there on the map, you're able to see a little bit farther, but obviously getting higher would make that even easier. The next gap looks to be of similar difficulty, and that might get you up another 5 to 10 feet, and then the next one after that would get you even higher, but that's a much bigger gap. So the next section, though, I should say, is longer. So if you could land on it, you might be able to get more of a running start off of that next section if you land on it okay.
Okay. So
Had a backflip, yeah.
I mean, so the goal of this is to get a look around at the land and see if there's anything notable, anything that might help them in tracking their quarry, but also to see if there's anything... I mean, just to get a sense of this place as well.
Yep, I got you.
So, and so I guess my question is there anything that suggests that she would want to get a better look at things by going farther?
That is not really possible to tell, except that if what you want is to get more of a look and to know more about the place, you're going to need to do it more than here. Like right now, basically, you're standing where your feet are a tawny bear's head, and that's nice, but that's not really, that's not that much higher. So,
okay,
yeah.
So she'll keep on going.
Okay, so you need another dexterity check, same thing as before, to get to that next step, or set of steps, I should say. Okay, so you leap over, you land on that next set of steps, you slip slightly, just like a and the stone kind of falls down, but still lightly. Down below, stone's like, like looking up, you like whimpering.
So is Tawny.
Oh yeah, you realize it's actually Tawny, and then the stone is like looking up at him, like. So now you have more of a range. Now I want you to make a perception check up here for me, please, River.
Natural one.
I see nothing.
I see some velvety purple butterflies.
Yeah, they're really beautiful.
They're so beautiful. If only you could see them. Sorry, perception check. That's what I'm doing.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, you saw. I know you saw.
Yeah, so there's a couple things you notice. Number one, outside the tower, you notice that there looks to be on the far side of the river what might have been, it's hard to tell from here, but it looks almost like the remains of a boat that have been pulled up on the western side of the bank. But I use the term remains advisedly, like it's clearly not a boat anymore. Whether it's broken down or destroyed or what size or what's in it, you don't know. But there's something on the western side of the bank, roughly to your southwest. Inside the tower, you actually find what looks like on this. I told you this area was a little bit longer of staircases, and you can see that of a staircase, and you can see that the staircase itself is actually pitted with rocks and stones, and in fact, there are a couple of broken, what look like arrow shafts on these stairs kind of leading up, as if there were arrows fired into the tower. Now, the weird thing is that the arrow shafts obviously did not come from, they didn't shoot them from the heavens. So the only way that this could have gotten here is if it had been fired from the inside of the tower.
Huh. So River calls down, first, if Tawny is looking a little concerned, says, Tawny, you could probably catch me if I fall, right? Jestingly. I believe in you. But she also calls down and says, so there seems to be a boat or something like it to the southwest on the western side of the river. But there are arrows here as well. And they look like they were fired from inside the tower. And so can I get into where they would have been fired from at this point? I'm trying to visualize this.
Maybe. Well, I mean, not exactly. It would have, obviously, based on the angle, it couldn't have been from the wall on which you're standing, so it would have had to be the opposite side of the tower. But, I mean, it is possible that it could have been fired from stairs, like, there could have been a battle on the stairs, when the stairs existed. That's possible.
And do these arrows, what, do they look old? Do they look... Yes.
Yes, they do.
And she picked one up.
And rotted away, actually, for the most part. In fact, mostly what you find are a couple of, like stone arrowheads and metal arrowheads and things like that, and possibly a little bit of the wood that's left. These arrow shafts are pretty broken down.
Okay.
And probably only preserved, honestly, because perhaps the tower preserved some of them from the elements until the roof finally caved in, and that sort of thing.
Interesting. And do these look like human arrows, or
no, thick orc shaft arrows is what they look like to you, almost certainly similar to the kind, although not identical to the kind that were used in the boat, where you found the dead corpses at the beginning of this adventure.
As opposed to the live.
As opposed to live corpses, yes. The dead bodies at the beginning.
Well done.
Wise guy.
Okay. All right. So, and they're heading southwest, right?
Yes.
Yes.
The boat is positioned southwest, and yes, you were planning to head southwest if that was where supposedly he was going.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. All right. All right. I think that's probably good.
Okay.
She looks down and says, "I could probably go up further if you wanted. Not sure what else though. Is there anything you want me to look out for while I'm up here?"
Falling.
Yeah, I'd come down while it's safe enough.
All right. Anyone want an orc arrow for a souvenir?
No,
Sure.
thanks.
Great. All right. So
Don't shoot me if that's what you're asking.
She just drops it and it goes right through Rovar's skull.
yeah.
800 points of damage. Oh.
I'm just imagining that scene from Hot Fuzz where the guy impales his head on the
Oh.
bottle church.
Oh, God.
I'm glad that you all know exactly what I'm talking about.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a good movie.
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, River will start making her way down. Yes, she'll start making her way down.
Okay. Now, are you going to just sort of drop down and let somebody catch you, or are you going to try to make the jump back over to the other set of stairs?
How high up is she right now?
Now she'd be about 15 feet.
Okay, that's like a one-story jump basically.
Mm-hmm.
I think she can probably. Can she jump from there onto? Is it grass down there or stone?
No, it's stones and
It's all
rocks,
stones
and
and
yeah.
rocks. And does it look like it would be easier to retrace her steps or to just be caught?
Well, if someone caught you, it would probably be more consistent. But of course, if they fail utterly, then I suppose it's possible they could drop you. So.
Great.
Tawny's
Hey, Tawny.
He's been staying more or less under you the whole time, just in case you fall. So.
Great. Tawny, do you want to catch me or should I make my way back down?
And then she jumped.
All right, good. Hell.
Technically speaking, in either case, you're making your way back down.
This is true. This is true.
You
One would
realize
be
you're missing a chance to recreate the Princess Bride right here, right? Like literally. You're literally recreating the Princess Bride. Hello, lady. Hello, lady.
I don't have 4 white horses.
Yeah, hello, lady.
He holds his arms out.
All right, and she's just gonna jump.
Okay. I would like you to make a dexterity check for me, and I would like Tawny Bear to make a strength check for me. I'll take athletics if you have it, Tawny.
She's also got athletics. If that.
No, but
it's a strength.
you don't have to worry about the jump. You have to worry
Right.
about how your aim, and Tawny
Yeah.
has to worry about catching you.
That's right. Where's my-
Okay, that sounds good. Now we'll just see whether she hits you or whether she hits Ink on the head.
Why me?
Well-
What did I do?
So,
Oh God.
so River's like, I got this, and sort of jumps off but as you jump, the side of the stairs crumble a little bit, and you're like, whoa, and sort of fall down. So, Tawny, now I need you to make a dexterity check because you have to adjust and basically leap forward to catch the now suddenly falling far away from that distance River. Stone is like, roar!
Oh my God. Of course this is happening. Of course.
Look what I can do.
I mean, probably better that this is happening than.
Wow! Oh my God!
Oh.
So Tawny Bear's like Cirque du Soleil, Stella, like jumps over, like flips 3 times,
Power
lands,
slide.
perfect. Yeah, oh yeah, just like lands and then like puts him down and is like, ta-da! Like, you know, this thing. Tawny Bear, no problem. Like, absolutely. Yeah, hero roll, exactly. Complete hero
I'm totally
roll.
seeing Dirty Dancing right now.
Exactly. And I'm have the time of my... Anyway, yeah, everyone says lands like
looks
Dirty
at
Dancing.
Tanya and goes. River just looks at Tanya and grins and goes, "See, I knew you'd catch me."
Oh.
Right?
And he just, as he's setting you down, is like, sort of walking back out.
Oh my God. What's up, Grant? How you doing, man? That's funny. Stone comes over and, licks your hand furiously, River.
He muffles behind his ears.
Yes. And, but you guys are now fine, on the bottom here. Okay. So do you guys want to set off to try to cross over? Now I will say the river is very, very, runs very fast here. So you will need to figure out a way, whether it's being ferried over somehow. You can try to swim it, but it will require a very strong swimming move. And no, you cannot throw people to the other side of the river. It's far too distant.
Well,
So-
I mean, Rosie is not here, so I can't throw.
Well, that's true. It's true. You can't throw Rosie. I just wanted to be clear before anyone got that idea.
Can I throw Tawny Bear?
Sure, you can. He can move him an inch or so.
Again, it would be like the Princess Bride, where Wesley grabs him, and is like,
Adventures in Middle Earth. The princess.
I'm glad that Inge is Wesley in this. whole
My way's not very
Asian thing.
sporting.
kill you now.
Do you guys know that when he first, I think I've told this story before, do you know that when he first auditioned for that role, he auditioned and then he went out and they looked at each other and Rob Reiner said that he was like, did you understand anything he said? And the other guy said no. And he said, well, what are we going to do? He's like, well, do you know any other giants? And they were like, no. So they cast him anyway. And of course it ended up being incredible. Like, how else could you make Fezzik except him? Like, oh man. But yeah.
I miss that man so much.
Yep. Anyway, so okay, so you guys now can cross, but again, the river will be a concern.
What if we got
I'm not
Ruda?
swimming.
Yeah, maybe we send our strongest swimmer ahead, and then we can tie off a rope and try and pull away.
Is
as
there
well.
no, like, bridge somewhere?
There is, if you want to go north to the old ford, but that's going to be probably a good 6 hours travel at least north.
No.
Wait, when
can-
we got here, you said that like at the old fort. That's like the point. Not the old fort. The here, stony fort.
Yeah.
That like the point is that like the water is very narrow here. so that you
Was
can-
narrow
Was.
in the past. Now, it still is narrower, but the river itself runs very quickly. Now there is, if you want to go down a little bit,
No,
just a
no,
little
not narrow, shallow. That's what I meant.
shallow. Yeah, no, not as shallow anymore though. But if you want to go a little south, just to sort of explore, you might be able to find an area maybe where the river runs a little bit slower. You could find a place that would be hopefully easier, but it's still not going to be easy because the Anduin is fast.
Yeah, well, I have a horse with me, so I.
True. I mean, Lillemon's got it covered, I'm sure.
No, I mean like I shouldn't like get a
So
part of the
Lillemon-
river where my horse can easier cross, right?
I see what you're saying. Yes.
Yeah.
So Lillemon can't cross here because it's too deep or it's too fast. Or...
Probably too fast.
I mean, he's tiny. He's like he looks like a Shetland pony, but he's like half the size or something. He's like a dwarf-sized pony, basically.
Is he bigger or smaller than Stone?
He is. Oh, that is a very good question.
I mean, you
That might
often
be
say
the-
like you know, a dog the
is
size of a
Stone
horse.
bigger than Inga? I mean, I have a drawing of Lilleman, so just for like size comparison. But yeah, you guys keep talking while I
But
find
there
it.
is a boat there, so we could easily put Lilleman in the boat.
So
I
is
thought
it
it's
the
rock-
ruins of a boat?
That's
or
the
is it-
other side, though. The other side of the river.
Oh.
And
But
also, it seems like
it'll-
the remains of a boat too.
Okay, I was gonna say if it's a riddle situation where you have to like get to the boat and bring the boat
You
across.
put the fox and the goose, and then
Yeah,
a
exactly.
sack of grain. Yeah.
You know, like 70% of our troubles are rivers. Like, how do we cross a river?
Yeah. Well, listen, man.
Welcome to the ancient world.
That's it. That's it.
Critical Role has doors. We have rivers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rivers.
So if we send someone across, they then get the boat, bring it back across, and we do it, or we could put a rope across as well, and we just put ourselves along the rope.
Hmm.
Could do that.
But we need a boat for Lillemund, right?
Well, I think if there's a rope, that
Yeah, if it's not too deep.
yeah.
for him, I don't know.
I mean,
I don't think you can.
Tony Bear could probably just pick up Lilleman and carry him over.
Wait. This horse is getting smaller all the time. Is
I
this
just
thing-
posted the picture. I just posted the picture for like height comparison.
Oh, you did? Okay, wait a
And
second.
like Inge is like 1 meter 56. Yeah, 56, which is like 5'1".
Where is the photo?
I see it. It's in chat. Oh my god, that is the
Oh.
best illustration, Terry.
You
That's
have
so
not
cool.
seen that?
I think
No.
I don't think I did.
Oh,
Maybe you
I
showed
don't
it.
think I
to-
had either.
I don't think I've
What?
seen this.
No, that's enough.
Aw. Oh my god, so cute! Thank you.
That's the coolest thing.
This is the most of your art that I've seen in like one spot. So that's so adorable. Oh my god.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think Tawny could effectively pick Lillemon up and like shepherds that are carrying lamb
Probably, yeah.
on their shoulder.
Well, if it's a matter of getting someone to swim to the other side with a rope, then like River could probably do that, in as much as she has athletics. Or does swimming need to be its own thing? I think she has swimming too, for that matter.
Yeah, I was gonna say like swimming would be of benefit here. If
Oh no,
not,
it's not marked, but athletics is right.
athletics would be the thing that would cover it. Yeah, I mean, and if not, you'd be doing basically a strength check. Where you are right here, the river is pretty fast. Maybe if you were to go, if you were to like walk along the bank, to the south a little bit, you might be able to find a spot where it might be slower. So it's not going to be slow, but slower.
All right, well, River will turn to the others and just say, so what do we think? Should we walk down to a place where it's slower, possibly? I mean, River knows this area, right? She would know that it would be slower.
Yes, it's good. She would know that there are areas that are easier to cross because of the river being slower than others, yes.
All right. So,
Please.
yeah, the river does slow down if we go a little farther. It'll be a little easier to get across. That said, I think it will always have to, involve a little bit of struggling with the current, but less than here.
That's a good
Let's do
idea.
that.
If we can get it a little slower, then it might be easier to.
Do any of you not know how to swim?
I do. I just don't enjoy it.
Yeah, I can swim if I need to.
Inga?
I'm just trying to think if she would know how to
Oh.
swim since she grew up on the surface. But well, she's a wanderer. She would know how to swim, right? Probably.
I would think she would have a basic knowledge
yeah,
of it,
okay,
yes.
Okay, yeah.
If you're a wanderer,
Okay,
you
yeah,
cross
I
the
do
river.
know how
eventually.
to swim, but I would prefer not to. Is that?
Yeah, that seems like a reasonable.
Why do you all hate swimming so much? Everyone seems to hate it. That's
Water
strange.
is
All right. All right. Well, let's just keep walking south then.
Okay. Sorry, bear with me. All of a sudden, every window closed. Just give me a second.
I'm just not a big fan of swimming in a fast current.
It's bracing though.
Yeah.
It's a great way to wake up of a morning.
There we go.
I prefer breakfast.
Before breakfast, you get hungry for breakfast, and then breakfast tastes all the better.
Okay, so you guys are heading south to try to. Am I understanding that right? That you guys are
Yes.
going to head south. Okay. Yeah, as you had suspected, does not take long. About maybe 10 minutes south of town, you come across a spot where the river looks, first of all, a little bit narrower, and secondly, a little bit shallower, and the river seems to be running slower. Now, slower, again, is still a relative term, and it is not shallow enough to walk, but it definitely feels shallower to you. So it might be a reasonable place to be able to try to make your crossing if you wish to.
All right. This is as good a spot as any. Shall we make our way across? Shall I head
Let's
across
give it a
with a
go.
rope?
You seem pretty eager. Let's
I like swimming.
go for that bracing
Good.
swim.
After you.
So,
Alright.
how are you? So, are you guys going one by one, starting with River, or is River going across, and then how are you guys doing this?
She was gonna go across and establish some rope, I think, to make it easier.
Okay,
Was that not the plan? That was like
Okay.
trying to see, making sure I understood that correctly.
I think that's right. So you guys, you're going to head across just to do that here. Okay, so I need you to make an athletics check then for me, please, as you are swimming across.
Okay. It always takes me like 3 clicks to find the correct fields. Maybe we should do this more than twice a month, and then I'll.
Hey, listen, you know.
No, athletics.
All right. So you're able to make. That's funny, Classico. Do you want to build a goblin? That's funny. I don't know what that has to do with the snowman, but it's funny. Anyway, so yes, this you're able to swim across. It is a surprisingly strong current. Maybe not surprisingly, but it definitely is as strong as advertised. I guess I'd say it that way.
It's early spring right now, right?
Yes, that's right. So,
So-
swollen by the melting snows from north of here, the river is definitely at a higher rate of speed than perhaps in the late summer. And as you're going through, you manage to get across the river. As you get to the other side of the bank and pull yourself up, I'd like you to make a perception check for me, please. Oh, I got you, Classico, because the cams were frozen for a minute. Okay, that's why. Now I understand.
Perception, you say?
Yes, perception.
Oh God.
Okay.
I'm blind.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
You're just like grass on the other side of this bank.
It's really
It's
cold.
a really cold bank of a river here.
I believe
Very
you said
focused on her
bracing,
task.
not
Yeah,
cold.
yeah, bracing. It was more than bracing. Let's be
Yeah.
clear about that. But you pull yourself up on the other side with very little difficulty. And as you look around, you can see that there are, on this side of the river, there are these reeds that are sort of matted down from where you just pulled yourself out. Your clothing, your pants are a little muddy from getting out on that side of the bank. But otherwise, you are none the worse for your experience. And you can see your companions, including Stone, who's still whimpering on the other side of the river.
Oh, Stone. Okay, so so the deal here is like to put the rope or something, or stretch it up to the other side.
Yeah. So you're gonna have. So if you want to place the rope, you'll have to use. Do you have in your pack? Does it show that you have like a piton or an iron stake or something like that? Does it show any of those things?
So I doubt that, but I think if the point of this was to stake something out, then
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 Inga
I
would
think
have probably given her
she'd have
something for
taken
that.
it.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine.
No, she doesn't have. Yeah, it's not listed.
Okay.
Uh,
But I assume Inga does, right?
Yeah, she has tools for everything.
All right. So I would assume that you do that on the other side. So you're able to attach the rope around it and nail the piton to the other side. Now, the one thing that makes you a little nervous is that the ground is a little soft on the other side. So you're a little concerned about that. But
Is it possible to basically do this and then toss the rope to the other?
It's too far away.
Too far away.
You'd have to. I mean, well, you could try to heave it and then have the other ones either like wade out a little ways to get it. You might be able to do that.
Just so that she can anchor it better.
Yep. Yeah, because to get enough weight on the rope, you're going to have to basically toss the coil, of rope, like what the part that's not attached.
Right.
So.
But wouldn't she just have let us hold the other side of the rope?
Now would have made it harder. If she wanted to swim while also carrying the rope, that would have been more hard. That would have been harder.
The more I think about this, the more it probably would have made more sense to like anchor it on the heavier bank and swim across with like the rope as an extension, and then hold it for them to cross.
Well, you can go back over and do that.
Whoops! Not thinking these things through. They can hear her if she calls out.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It's over the rush of the water, but yes.
Yeah. And if she looks around, is there like one spot that looks sturdier than another?
Possibly. The ground underneath is the issue. The stuff on top, you probably can nail it through without too much difficulty, but the whole, whatever it's called, the perma-layer, of the soil underneath, that's the issue. Because, Inga's tools are not, she doesn't have a 10-foot stake, she has. So.
Or do I?
No, you don't. I promise.
All right.
Although you should work on that. One of these fellowship phases, Inga, you should make a folding stake,
Yeah, I need the staff from Dragon Ball.
There you go. See.
Infinitely.
Yep.
All right. Well, she'll start by just calling out to the other side. The ground's really soft on this side. I can anchor this here, but it might not hold as well as I'd like.
Miranda
Are there
suggests
no rocks or trees around or something?
There are plenty of rocks. Trees, not so much. Some bushes and brushes, but not really trees there.
Okay,
the trees are farther west than this.
Then Inga is shouting over the river. To a river, haha. Oh god, I cannot resist these stupid puns. I'm so sorry. Try to anchor it behind a rock. That should work better.
All right. Yes.
Okay.
All right. That's what she'll try.
All right. You do find a rock which is suitable for this. Miranda also suggested attaching it to an arrow. Part of the problem with that, though, Miranda, is that a rope that's heavy enough to actually carry people is not easy to attach to a rope, despite what they show in the movies, to attach to an arrow.
Do we have a ballista?
Yeah, I was going to say, if you have a ballista, that would be my foldable ballista. Yeah, sadly, you left your portable ballista at home. So you attach it, and it seems to be sturdy-ish for the moment. And now you're going to you're tossing that over to the, offer to them, is that right?
I'm now nervous about her, can she... Yes. I'm trying to think of what would she need to what is she rolling to do that versus swimming back? Where is she more confident?
It would be athletics again. Pretty much the same thing. The athletics would be used to try to chuck it as far across the river as she could.
Okay. All right. Yes, she will try and do that. And the worst case scenario there is that she misses and that she can just pull it back to try again, right? Okay.
And Tawny's going to wade out as far as he can without risk of being washed downstream.
Okay. All right.
Great.
To try to catch it.
Cool. So she will do that.
Okay. Go ahead and make your athletics check. Okay. So you're able to toss it and reach over. Tawny, I need you to make a dexterity check. It's not a difficult one, but
figured that was coming.
Yep. I would advise against critical failures, though.
Oh, well.
Don't do that.
We've got a problem then.
I was sitting on the one for just a minute. I was like, yeah, no problem. You toss it over. She tosses it over to you. You're able to grab the end of it and wade back over to your end of your side of the river, and then you have the rope on your side. And then the question is, what do you? Now you have it. So now you guess you want to try to anchor it in on your side.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, Miranda. Exactly.
I help him with that.
Okay. All right. So you were able to sort of, stake it down on this side, and you end up with what feels like a fairly sturdy, again, at least from this side, rope going across. So now, with River on one side and you three plus Stone and Lilimon on the other, how are you guys going to cross with this rope now that it's stretched?
first, I would like to say that I went ahead, like while River was swimming across and anchoring the thing and all that, Inge went to Lilleman and made sure that like all her stuff is like properly secured
Yep. Okay.
and properly tied down and stuff like that, and
Yep,
all
yep.
the like stuff that would break in water is as waterproof
Got
packed
it.
away as possible.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. You can do that.
Feed Lilliman to Stone, and then Tawny just carries Stone over.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
So Inge turns to Tawny and goes, Tawny, would you mind like holding onto Lilleman while crossing? Just a bit worried about him.
Maybe between the two of us we can achieve that.
All right.
Pop and
Not a
tail.
great swimmer.
How deep is this river anyway?
Well, on the way over, it was deeper than it would have been for you to stand there. Maybe a good 8 feet, something like that.
What?
Mm-hmm.
It is 5 feet. So, oh god.
Can someone carry me over?
Maybe 7.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely swollen from the snows. If you guys just wait here for 4 months, it'll be a lot easier.
I'll take that option.
I mean,
Yeah, I've seen what the Rhine currently looks like.
I
with all
hold my
the-
action for 4 months.
alternately, I mean, maybe what would make most. I was trying to get a sense of like how tall Tawny is versus everyone else.
6'2".
Sorry, 6'2".
6'2".
6'2". Okay. So yeah, no, it's not a matter of you just kind of walking across with stuff on.
Just
top.
holding everybody up.
No.
It's a matter of that for the first third.
Tawny is
Right.
shorter than I assumed.
When I wrote his height, I had no idea how tall he should be, so there is some flux to that.
I thought he was like more than 2 meters, but he's not. He's not even at 1.90 meters. So
he
shorty.
He has a lot of presence.
we can make him taller.
No,
Just
no, no.
6
him on a
foot
rack.
10.
Put him on a rack and stretch him out. Ah!
Then
Well, I
he
think
then he
he's for a
become
while.
then he would become Thinny Bear.
Oh,
Oh yeah. I'll be here all week.
Oh no.
So go ahead and
I
drown
No.
Williman.
I attack the DM.
Does it seem like from River's experience swimming this river and her experience with like Stone and stuff, does it seem like something that Stone can swim across on his own?
You think that Stone could probably swim it, assuming everything goes fine. If something were to, like normally on a normal sort of regular river thing, if some problem happened or he got distracted, he might drift a little bit, but then he'd figure it out and go. He needs to
Right.
be focused for this trip. Like if he just gets distracted somehow, then that could be a problem
Okay.
with this current.
He'll wind up further downstream by the time he gets across than somebody who's holding onto the rope, but I wouldn't see why he wouldn't be able to make it.
Right.
Right, probably true, yeah.
So just to see like to make the equation easier on either side, she'll also call it. Do you want any help? Should I come back and help bring
No.
stuff over?
No.
Stone is a very good swimmer, and he'll probably be able to come to me on his own if that helps.
That might be useful. We're currently thinking about this. About the logistics.
So Tawny has a length of rope himself.
Okay.
And so he's going to use it to kind of not lash Lilliman to him.
Are you
But to
setting
be-
up a backpack of Lilliman? Are you using a
Yes,
backpack horse?
actually. Yeah.
Nice.
It's a pack mule. Ah!
Outstanding.
Not a mule, but
Let's see what
whatever.
you did there.
Pack pony, just like he's listed on the art. So
He's a
yeah.
pack pony.
Phil, when did you get that? I'm sorry. I know I've been staring at this background for some time now, but like how? What? Is it a green screen thing?
It's a new setting in Zoom that I figured out. Yeah, it's a green
What?
screen actually here.
Wait,
Like-
what? What do you mean a new setting in Zoom? What?
Yeah, so the green screen is actually there, but you can set it to like any picture you can add during.
What? That's so cool.
That's pretty badass.
Pretty cool, huh?
Okay.
This
I
is
wonder
like
what that
kind
looks
of
like with my
what,
green couch in the
It's like,
background.
this is the way the Dunedain operates. With green
Yeah, I
screens
felt
and the private.
How did you make that happen? Out of curiosity.
Yeah.
Oh, you can tell me later. It's not like I can do it right now. Anyway.
The green
you
screen
just
thing is that's a rabbit hole. I'm telling you right now. You go down the green screen rabbit hole, and oh man.
Okay, yeah. So make the pack pony and because Tawny has no problem carrying Lilliman with him. He just doesn't want to do it one-handed, and because the moment he lets go to move his hand forward to grab the rope again, off he goes. So-
Right.
And then being upstream from the rope and being pushed against it the whole time.
But what
that's
if
how you
he
snubbed under the?
can he not? So yeah, if he can keep Lilmon on him, then he can just grip. He can go sideways on the rope, right?
Yes.
And-
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why
Yes.
he's securing
Gotcha.
Lilliman to him so he
I
can.
think the answer here is a complex series of levers and pulleys we used.
Perhaps if we made a primitive lathe. Okay. Yes. So you
Can
can.
River, by the way, do the thing where she like is encouraging and gives people extra die or something?
Yes.
Being as she's on the other
Maybe-
side with little else to do, but be encouraging at them.
I
And,
believe that's right. Yeah, because I think your encouragement works outside of combat. As I
So we're not in combat. Good.
yes. Yeah.
not
she.
yet.
Yeah. So the Warden's gift. You can inspire others through stirring words, music, or even by your presence alone.
Yep.
So.
Okay. I think that's
yeah.
reasonable. Now you can use that. How many times per?
It doesn't
18.
say in my sheet.
18 times per round.
I don't have that immediately to hand, so I'm happy to
looking
leave
right
that
now.
to your discretion. Okay.
It's okay. I'm looking right now. Equal to your charisma modifier, which is what's your charisma modifier?
2.
Okay, so you can use it twice before a long rest, and as a reminder, no long rests in here until unless you do it at a sanctuary, and the closest sanctuary you have is Woodland Hall. So Stonyford does not count as a sanctuary. So I'm
Gotcha.
I'm just letting you know. So that's certainly fine. You
Yes.
can definitely do that. This might be a good time to do it. I'm just letting you know.
Okay.
There's
Okay.
nothing sacred about this place anyway. So.
If she uses it once at this point, can that apply to like everyone trying to cross, or is it just a matter of like for one person?
My guess is it's for one person, but let me make sure.
If that's the case, save it for the one with the dense calcium.
One
nature.
creature.
Yeah.
One creature.
One creature.
One creature
Okay.
other than yourself.
All right. Okay. Well, either way, she's still being generally like positive and encouraging about it. And although, God, I feel so at odds with her today. All I want is for her to sing like Annan Waters. Like, yeah. In fact, I think she will do that. I mean, it's still since her presence can just be encouraging. I think taking a slightly ironic tone towards the whole thing
Okay.
might be helpful.
Okay, so you're going to begin to sing that.
And when waters you look so deep and wide, I would cross over and ford the other side, and so on. Actually,
I was just going to I'll just keep letting that go.
I'm
Okay.
going to start looking for matches because I don't have a lighter.
Just a cell phone back and forth. Nice. Okay, so all right, who is crossing first then?
I would like to cross before Lilliman does.
Okay.
For in case, so that Lilliman knows that I'm on the other side. Maybe that makes him feel
So,
more
yeah.
safe. That's the idea. Like
Okay.
if he sees that I can cross safely, then maybe he will chill out more while crossing.
So then I could go afterwards, and then we can all help bring Tony Bear and Lilymond across.
Okay, that sounds good. Damn it, sorry that didn't show up properly. I'm still working on getting the alerts working properly. Thank you very much for the cheer, Jay. Jay was cheering the impressive the song just then. Cool. All right, so so you're going to head across. Okay, so the first person across then I believe is going to be so we're looking at Tawny Bear and then Inga. Inga and then Tawny Bear and then
Inga
Robar, Tony Bear.
Inga Robar Tawny Bear. Okay. All right. So there we go. I did have that right. Thank you for the follow, Bamboo. All right. So we'll start then with Inga. Inga, I need you to make an athletics check for me as you are gripping onto this rope.
Whoa,
Wow.
20.
You're just
Yay!
like, just hand over hand. You're just like with no difficulty. The river is rushing, of course, and it is deep, but you remember your commitment to Brunhild and your commitment to find Oderic and listen to his story, and you pull yourself across with river singing on the other side, the river singing on the other side, and as you get to the other edge, you realize that there's a phone ringing, thereby breaking our immersion, as the dungeon master breaks his phone in anger and rage that he's being bothered at this moment. You then go right back to what you were doing, which is getting off on the bank on the other side and seeing the smiling face of River there as you pull yourself up. And I'd like you, Inga, to make a perception check for me also as you pull yourself up.
Yes, sir. Wait, don't I get like a bonus because we are in the wilderness or something? That was a thing. Double perception in the wilderness. Natural watchfulness. That's that. That's what I think we said, like the bonus is what I get extra or something.
I think you're probably right, but let me
if I
find that
recall
over thing.
correctly.
And also, 25 is an excellent roll, Marinda. I don't know what you're talking about. Average is not 21.
Yeah, really.
Not even close.
So I get a +2 on perception, so that would be a 16. I guess. Yeah.
So
Well, if you have advantage, or
no, not advantage, a bonus. I don't believe.
No, double perception in the wilderness. That's what
Okay,
it says.
thanks.
Yeah. So as you pull yourself up on the other side, what you notice there is that as I mentioned, there's like a lot of matted down reeds, like muddy reeds and so forth. But you notice that there is a whole set of these reeds that are kind of muddy and trampled down, as if more than just the river could have created when she pulled herself up on the bank, as if there had been a number of people that were here, perhaps not all that long ago. There's a lot of trampled down area all around this spot where you're pulling yourself out.
Okay, so I get my axe and go reverse. Somebody was here very recently.
Yep.
What? Really? What?
There are tracks.
Now that
and
she
stuff.
shows you, you're like, oh.
Oh, how did I miss that? Oh, all right. Okay, River at this point looks around to see if there's anyone obviously like about to ambush them.
Yeah,
No.
that's exactly what-
Okay,
No,
so,
you don't. It's not that
Okay.
recent, but it's definitely
Okay.
within the last couple of days.
Well,
All
you
right.
keep your eyes on the guys. I'm gonna keep watch.
All right, good plan.
All right. Next one
look at the
across
water.
is next one across, I believe, is Tawny Bear, right?
Babar.
Isn't
Oh,
it
Rabar next. I'm sorry.
Rabar? It occurs to me that Anna and Water, hilariously, the lyrics are addressed to the river, so to the actual river.
Nice. So you're actually calming it down.
So she's actually like singing to the river as if to calm it down.
Okay,
an
so you're like, so Robar, you start to make your way across, but your mind, as has been the case somewhat over the last week or so, as you've been traveling down to this village, seems to be on other things, perhaps concern for your
As do my
homeland.
arms. Yeah.
Yeah, and so your hands slip off the rope. I need you to make a dexterity saving throw for me, please.
Off into the void. Yep.
Splash.
Oh,
So you
God.
fall off the rope, and you're now in the river. Now, I need you to, let's have you make another athletics check, and let's see if you're able to catch yourself and start swimming. Sore thumb from play guitar. You're just like, you're just like,
over 10 today.
you see Robar swept away
Oh, shit.
down the
Okay,
river.
okay.
I had
So
4,
can
an 8,
River-
a 6, and a 9 today.
Can River dive in after him?
If River wants to.
She would, to see if she can. When his hands start to slip, can she start to wade out?
Not that fast. Nope.
Not that fast,
Not that
okay.
fast. But if you want to dive after him, you got to do it immediately.
Okay.
If you're going to do that.
can
Is there
Inga
an-
do that? I think that would be a thing she would do.
Well, both of you
Well,
can,
she's-
but you're not going to have time to consult about it. So I need
No,
decisions
but
from each of you.
like Inga would just throw down her axe and just immediately jump up.
Then do it.
Okay. Oh God. Oh no. Terrible plan.
I mean, Robar is like one of her best friends at this point. So
That makes perfect
yeah.
sense.
All right. Inga leaps in.
Oh
okay,
God.
athletics or what?
Athletics.
Fingers crossed. If anybody wants to inspire me, now would be the time.
Right. Yeah. Does
Oh, yeah.
anybody? Does everybody? This is a time.
moment- Okay, I'm gonna yes. So River
I'm
This is all happening very fast. Obviously, she's just jumped in. River ramps up her. This sounds so stupid, but she's doing it anyway. She ramps up her singing, but like with great intention.
Okay, it's like, no, really,
J-Rab
for
is
real.
inspiring.
Yes.
And also, J-Rab is going to inspire Inga as well. Thank you,
Yes,
J-Rab.
thanks, Jay.
There we go.
Okay,
So, okay, you're
awesome.
able to
So,
inspire. So what I need you to...
a D6 as well. Is that what she gets or something?
I believe it's D6, yeah, and then it goes to D8 when you get higher level. So I think it's D6. So you're going to be rolling an advantage plus adding 6. You're making an athletics check here to see if you can catch up to Robar and grab him. Wow, there you go.
I didn't even need that.
How about that? All right. So you might as well roll the extra 6 actually just to see.
Okay.
I just want to see if she like lifts Robar over her head.
Just grab
Wow!
him.
All right. She's like, no! Dives in, swim. Robar, you have the very odd experience of feeling sort of swept away, and then you feel a strong arm, like a hand grab you, like grip the back of your neck and pull you back. Yeah, basically. And pull you back. And then you guys have this experience of seeing, very dramatically actually, Inga swimming as strongly as she can towards the bank, holding the back of Robar's neck as he's being sort of dragged along against the current. So she's doing this like swimming. And as she comes up to the side, they're sort of both looking at each other. She manages to grab one hand onto the bank. Now, River, at this point, you could run down and assist if you wanted.
She's absolutely going to do that, yeah.
Okay, so you're able to grab and pull them both back out onto the bank. Exactly. And they're both like, like kind of both lying there. Robar, obviously, and then Inga. And Robar, you see Inga looking tired, but sort of looking at you with a smile. That's pretty
Thank you.
Are you okay? Are you all right?
Yeah, no, well, it's just my pride that's hurt.
Inga actually laughs out loud. And it's like, oh.
And we were worried about
Thank you
getting
so
the
much.
pony across.
Tony looks down at Stone. Is like, don't do that.
Before Liliman just like swims across.
Well, I was about to say Lilibot actually just like tight ropes across the rope, like with like no problem. Oh man. Okay. Nice work. All right.
River looks at Inga and goes, "That was amazing."
So Inga is just registering what just happened.
Right.
Because it was kind of like a fight or flight situation.
Right.
And just looks out on the water and it's like, I guess it was amazing. Whatever happened just now.
Rivers are now my favorite enemy as they do the Dine Ranger.
Hey, yes, River.
My favorite enemy. You are confronting a beast known only as River. Like, God damn it, they never anticipated. Okay.
River is like, I am absolutely going to write a song about this, except that I will use the Anduin and not just call it the river periodically, just in the sake of,
I'll leave
Is
out
that like
my
her
name as well.
shtick? She only sings about rivers?
yeah,
Oh man.
my
All right.
concept album.
Your
Yes.
concept out. There you go. All right.
Prog rock
So you
concept
guys
album.
are okay on that side. So that just leaves now Stone, Tawny Bear, and Liliman on the far bank. So Tawny, now, how? By the way, how is Stone is trying to swim across? Do you want Stone to go first, or do you want Tawny Bear and Liliman to go?
I think Stone going first might be a good plan, and River will like wait out as far as she can to encourage him to come to her and
Okay.
prepare to dive after him if necessary.
Let's have Stone make a strength check, or I guess I don't think he has athletics, but strength.
Probably not. Let me see.
He hasn't skipped leg day. We'll find out.
Every day is leg
Every
day.
day is leg day for
Whoa,
Stone.
yeah, he's
So strength check. Is it strength or
Yep.
he's got strength and dex?
It would be strength. It would definitely be strength.
Yeah.
River's weakness is drought. Yeah. He starts kind of swimming, but you
We'll
can tell
dive
that
back
he's
in again. No.
you could tell that he's struggling against the current, and he's kind of slipping, kind of as he's kind of paddling towards you. But he's not. It looks to you like he's drifting farther south.
Oh yeah, she's gonna dive in after him and like swim alongside him or do whatever. Like my sense is that they've probably crossed rivers together before.
Yep.
So they'll hopefully have like a thing that they do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Robot's like, forgive me if I don't help out.
Yeah. Yeah, make an athletics check for me. Did you have athletics? I think we said you did,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
So.
These rolls.
Sorry, so many rolls.
There you go.
Oh,
Hey.
So you're able to pull alongside and grab onto the scruff of his neck. And he sort of whimpers a little bit, but he's fine as you pull him over to the bank. Then you arrive, and presuming that at this point, Inga or Robar is not maybe totally recovered from his ordeal, but Inga, if you wish, could run over and try to help pull her out if you want. So you pull them both out. Stone, kind of looks at you and kind of gives you this soulful look, and then gives you a lick, and then promptly shakes himself and sprays all of you with water, just like all over the
bad
place.
Bad dog, no.
We were all just swimming. I mean, there's not much more wet we can
Yeah, I
get.
couldn't get much
Yeah,
more.
but
Much
now
better
we
than that.
don't just smell of like river and stuff. No, now we smell of wet dog.
Wet dog also.
Are you
on
saying
top
my
of it.
dog smells
Steepy
bad?
dog fur.
The rift between
I'm
Inga and
not
River
saying he
began
doesn't.
that day.
I like the way dogs smell.
No,
Okay.
River just hugs Stone really tightly and pets him.
Yeah.
Around. He's this good dog.
He is. He's very, very happy to be with you. Okay, and that leaves Lillimon and Tawny Bear to cross. So, Tawny Bear, you're going to try to cross, and as you do so, you can. Now he is strapped to the back, right? We actually literally did do that. Okay, so as you move across, he's definitely heavy. He's densely boned, as we've discussed. And as you pull him across, he's kind of like not. This is not. He's not a fan of any of this.
This is not cool.
No, this is not cool at all. I need you to make a strength check. Or an athletics, but I am going to need you to make it at -2. You are burdened a little bit by this horse on your back. Because I can't believe I just said that phrase.
Wait.
This horse on
wait.
your back is burdening you.
We are so not done with this yet.
Okay.
Because I highly doubt that we want to leave this rope here.
Oh, I see. Well,
But then we can just.
Yeah, tie
It's
the rope around
anchored
you
on
and
our
we
side.
pull you
Exactly.
over.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
tie it under the
Okay.
under the
Yeah.
arms.
Yeah.
And then
J-Rab just made that point. Oh, J-Rab, who is coming to... He's using his other inspiration, because he gets 2. He's using his other inspiration to inspire you, Tawny Bear. So both of
Hooray.
you can make it across.
I may not be the one you want to inspire. I mean, granted we've got Robar.
Inspires a
We're
pony.
all going to strengthen our
I
side
was
of the
gonna say.
No,
Yeah.
we're not leaving.
Stone's got the end of the rope in his teeth.
Yeah, exactly.
No, so River says, "All right, before Tanya crosses, Robar, are you all right to help us
I'm
hold on to
fine,
this
yeah.
rope?
I
All right,
can-
so
I can hold a rope.
we need to."
Sure.
That was your one job while crossing the river, but okay.
Wow.
I did have one job.
So, anyways, we should all hold on to our side. There's a lot of weight on the other side, and I don't think that diving after both Tawny Bear and Lillimon is an option for any of us. So let's just make this count and hold on to this. And do any of you know any shanties?
What's that?
Probably.
What's a shanty?
The work song, just something so we can help
Yo
haul
ho
them.
ho and a bottle of rum.
No. A shanty specifically is a work song, just so you know. So just and so yeah, River will hunt around to see if there's one that they all know.
I don't sing.
You don't.
Wasn't the question.
Yeah.
I don't know songs.
Just follow along. Like
Just
these
follow
types
along.
of songs tend
And-
to be super simple.
And Stump just said, listen, look at chat bringing it today. Stump's like, I'm waiting to throw an inspiration if needed. See, that's where it's about.
Aw.
Like, if needed, they will throw an inspiration your way. And Miranda, I think that's the problem. They could try to shoot and cut the rope on the other side, but I think their concern is they don't want to leave evidence that they crossed here, is my guess. So that's part of the problem. But yeah.
Robar will perform like me at age 10 in my C of E primary school with prayer time. And he's like,
That was prayer time for you.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. -2.
Amen.
Yep, -2, but you're at inspiration. Remember, you have you
Yeah.
are at advantage for this.
Okay. So here we go. Come on, one. Come on, one.
No, no problem. You're just like, You're
Just
like,
throw the horse.
you're like, not on my watch. Whoa, whoa,
I truly
whoa.
love the magical properties of inspiration,
Right?
in this game, and the fact that they managed to just, whenever inspiration happens, it really brings it. It's really good.
It really
You're
is.
like, hold my horse.
Yeah, I'll hold my horse. So you go across with no problem at all the way to the other side. Now I'm sorry, you had the rope. You did untie it or something while you were pulling. Okay, right. So you're able to get across nonetheless. You do drift a little bit, but with not really no difficulty, and get to the other side. You're helped up by your companions. And as you pull yourself up onto the other side of the bank, you're all sort of sitting there, some of you wetter or like more bedraggled maybe would be the better word for it than others, on your back as you pull yourself up. Lilimon is kind of like, like not shaking from the cold of the river.
I try to like calm.
Yeah, he seems okay actually, just wet and cold. Is what he seems like.
ruffle
has
his
a lot
mane.
to answer for.
Yes.
Just gonna ruffle his mane. See, no problem.
And the sun now is.
He's like,
River is just like beaming with admiration at Tawny and being like, that was wonderful. Look at just, and here we are.
We made it. I have the best party.
Basically, she's
Yeah.
just very, very happy about it.
Cool. It's by the way, it is now past noon. It's taking you to cross over. It's past noon or so, maybe like 12:15, 12:30. Not much past noon. But you're now on the other side, and so now you have to decide about following this trail that you wanted to try to track down your
Can we
lost fugitives.
actually keep wandering even though we are all soaking wet? Because like this is usually a problem. while
I have
walking
often
with
wandered
clothing.
while soaking wet.
Yeah, is hypothermia a thing in this game?
I mean, it could be, but it's not going to get cold enough for that.
Okay.
It's just
It's a lovely day.
we're not in January at this time, so yeah.
Does
it
any
some
well?
problem?
River will, like, does anyone need a short rest, or shall we just press on?
That's just.
Omar,
I think
are you
we've,
alright?
Yes, here we go.
we've wasted enough time here already.
The movement will help to warm us up.
Agreed.
Okay, now if you guys are going to head down in that direction, what I'm going to ask is this is going to be a journey. So we're going to be doing an official journey. So you're going to be doing your rolls like you've done before in the past. But what I'm going to ask you guys to do as well is to give me an approximate path that you'd like to follow, to basically freehand it on the map. You only know that arrow that I showed you that you can see that's on the map right now, that purple arrow. That's the only thing that you know in terms of the rough distance or the rough direction he was going. Beyond that, you have no idea until you start traversing the path and then looking for clues or whatever else. So the question is, do you want to go west and then go south? Do you want to go completely straight south following the arrow? Like, how do you want to stick by the river and then go west? Like, how do you want to proceed, basically?
Did Brunhild say? Well, what did she say again about Orderig's location? Like,
I can tell you if you guys don't
is
remember.
it? Yeah, I don't remember. I don't think I wrote it down exactly where
I
he
think
went.
She said that he had crossed, that he had told her that he was going to head southwest towards the woods, and into the West Anduin Vales. But that was it. Unfortunately, the West Anduin Vales are a fairly decent-sized area, so
There's
that's...
only 5 trees. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, exactly. Totally to scale.
And the boat that River saw from the tower, that was
A little farther north from where you are. You'd have to walk another maybe 5 minutes or north or so. Not quite as far as you went south, because you found it southwest of the tower, but you'd
Right.
still have to go a little farther north to find it, yeah.
Do we want to, hug to the river to find our way there and then head over towards the Vales? Or do we want to head cross country and just go, like, bang? There,
Do any of you know these lands, perchance?
That's
I
a
have not been
very
here.
good
I
question.
think.
I do not
Maybe.
know.
This
Yeah,
is-
the West Anduin. I know these ones. Yeah, okay.
Yes. Yeah, you would know it somewhat. You've
I have.
traveled in these
Okay.
lands before,
I have
Robar, yes.
advantage on survival checks when tracking others through this wilderness.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Is this a little? I don't know if this is farther afield than River's gone or not.
Not
She-
usually on this side of the river. You
Not
would
usually on
have,
this side.
yeah, not usually. I mean, you've probably seen it, and you might have been over the river once or twice, but not down here. Probably
Right.
not. Yeah,
Gotcha. Okay.
So-
you're more an east side, person.
Or an
East
East
side.
Anduin
East side.
gal. Yeah.
East Ender. Because Robar has knowledge of these lands, would he know that, was following the river a better route and then going through here, or would it be quicker, easier, or safer to just go kind of that way?
You don't know that, but what you do know is that if you wanted the fastest, the quickest route between 2 points, you would head straight southwest. But if you wanted to avoid detection, you probably would go south first and west. Whether or not because it would be harder to track you that way, whether or not Oderic would have been thinking that, or would have just been like, get the hell out and go as fast as you can, you don't know. If you were trying to avoid capture, if you were trying to avoid being found, you would have gone south and then west, but you're a Dunedin, and that's like your thing, as opposed to, this kid.
But he's been pretty savvy about it, hasn't he?
Yes, he has.
I just remembered. We found the tracks earlier. Like where I found the reeds.
Right.
Yeah,
So
And
you found
I showed
something.
these to the other guys.
Yes.
And I'm like, maybe we
Yeah.
can find more tracks like these and just follow them.
And in fact, if you guys want to look at those tracks, anyone who wants to look at them can make an investigation check for me, because
Yes.
there's something odd about these tracks.
Yeah, can Stone also
Ugh,
like
so-
sniff at them or
Yes?
Yes. And so does he get his own? I can't remember if he gets his own investigation or it's on mine.
I will allow him to make an investigation check, but what he can communicate to you will be somewhat limited. I mean, I know you guys are close, but,
Gotcha.
He's like, well,
wait,
master,
sorry.
I found the following 5 things.
When you make investigation checks, you gain advantage and count as proficient in the skill, even if you are not. If you're proficient, you get to double your proficient. Okay, so that's I guess how it works.
Okay,
So,
there you go, then that
we're
works.
Presumably already. Cool. Yes, I'm gonna make an investigation check.
Okay, so Terry, that's a 7? Okay. So you're like, matted down things. Also, super matted down things.
But wait, wasn't mine at advantage?
Because of him? I forgot that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. So you have a 20. So you actually,
Nice.
you criticaled. Okay, Robar has got a 13. And then, Tani, are you doing this or not?
Not really.
Okay. So, Robar, I'll tell you what you find. So, Terry, Inga, you're like, there are matted down grass here. Definitely. Lots of matted down grass.
This is not rocks. This doesn't tell me anything.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't really help you. Robar, your guess is that there was more than one person that made these things. This looks like more than one person just getting out of the bank. And what you discover, River, is that it's, in fact, much more than that. If you had to guess, this was maybe 10 or 12. If you had to guess humanoid-sized creatures, could be humans, could be something else, all of which had matted down this area. And then you can sort of see some of the grass matting heading almost directly to the southwest from that spot. So not south along the river, but southwest.
So into the woods.
Correct. Now, these are all, though, from what you can tell, these are heavy tracks, as if they are people who were wearing boots or, heavy shoes or something like that. Not something being worn by someone who is traveling lightly and with little equipment.
Huh. And Stone has sniffed orcs before and has presumably a bad reaction to it.
He's not reacting that way.
He's not reacting like to orcs.
No.
Okay. All right. So River says, well, just basically shares this with everyone else and says, "This, I don't think these were made by Oderic. Is it Oderic or Oderic? I can't remember.
She pronounced it Oderic. But...
Oderic. Okay. I don't think these are made by Oderic. This seems like quite a number of people, and all of them wearing heavy boots, seeming like they must have been equipped for something like this, and they're heading straight southwest.
Didn't we find orc arrows on the other side at the tower?
But those were old. Those were rotting
Yes.
away,
Yeah,
and
rotting
these
away.
are not orcs. I don't think they can be orcs because Stone knows the stink of orc.
Well,
These are these are probably something, the human Bjorning, potentially, probably too light for elves, but yeah. I guess the question is, do we want to follow whoever made these, or do we want to avoid them?
Well, if I were going here and avoiding detection, I would head south and then west into the Vales. But the question is, does Oderic just want to get as far away as possible quickly, in which case you just head southwest? Or is he trying to remain hidden? I mean, these 10 or 12 here, I mean, we don't know who they are. They're not our quarry.
Mm-hmm.
We only wanted Odoric, unless they're with him, of course.
What if they went after him?
It's possible that they're trying to hunt him down. Maybe they want his blood.
Does it look like these were made at speed or someone walking?
That's not possible to tell. It just there, but it looks as
Actually,
if
that would be possible because the steps would be larger apart.
But it's
Farther
matted
apart.
grass.
it's matted grass
It's
though,
not
really-
more
Oh,
than his
okay,
heavy
yeah.
track. The reason that you know about it is because the grass is matted down more heavily with broken
okay.
stems and that sort of thing. One thing that you know for sure though is that this group of people was gathered together at some point, because it wasn't like, you know, matted grass, 5 feet matted grass. I mean, there's just like there's a big area of matted grass where that gets less so as it proceeds away from the river.
I would choose whichever is the fastest route, because if these guys are after Odoric, then we need to be faster than them.
And we don't know if they are
Hey,
bandits,
X5.
as we encountered before. We
That's
don't
right.
know if there's just very little that we know. I suppose the question is, do we want to avoid encountering people, or do we want to seek it out? And
Well, either way, they're headed in the same direction as Odoric. So it's possible that they're after him as well, and or with him. So I think at one point or another, we're going to run into them. It's just a matter of sooner or later, because if we head south, they might not see us. If we head southwest, we're probably going to run into them a lot quicker.
well, southwest we'll have to go through the woodland also, won't we?
If you go southwest, you will come to the wood. You'll come to the forest. Yes.
To the forest.
Where he was going anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry?
That's where he was going anyway.
Yeah.
But
So I think that even if he has headed southwest, even if he has just headed south along the river, which might not be likely because he is not a Dunedain, and my people take hidden tracks around here, so he may not even know that heading south is a quieter way around. We're gonna run into him in the forest anyway, so I think the quicker we get to him, the better. If they are bandits, we want to reach him first before they kill him, so that we can bring him to justice ourselves.
Well,
We
we first
know.
need to find out what justice would be in his case. So
Oh, I have got a pretty good idea about that.
what we know,
I made a promise to Brunhild,
I
and
did
I'm going to
not.
keep it.
what we know at this point is that there are individuals out here that are heading in the same general direction. We don't know their purpose. We don't know who they are. What we know is that Odoric knows people are after him and he is moving. That is all we need to focus on for the moment. We need to find him as quickly as possible. I say southwest.
Quickest route is southwest. I agree.
You know the area better than I do. I'm going to go where you guys go.
All right. Let's do it.
Okay.
To go to the bathroom real quick.
Then okay, that's fine. So.
by
I'll
the
lead the
river.
way.
All right. Well, then while you're doing that, I'll take this opportunity to say welcome to everybody who is here in chat watching. You are watching day 15 of Adventures of Middle-earth Wilderland Adventures. This is episode 3, Kinstrife and Dark Tidings, with Trendane, with Terry Tunes, with Will from Encounter Roleplay, and of course with Amal Elmatar. If you guys like what you are watching, please make sure to follow the stream. Please make sure to support the channel with Arv Shop, with the Patreon, Arvtreon, and of course with subscribing to the channel so you can inspire, just like J-Reb was kind enough to do. And please do please do sign up for the Thunderclap, which is !Thunderclap, which will allow you to give us a little bit of support when we begin our Esper Genesis campaign, which is officially sponsored, like this stream is officially sponsored by Cubicle 7. That will be officially sponsored by Alligator Alley Entertainment. Very cool science fiction, space opera, sci-fi, D&D 5th edition rules-based game. Mass Effect meets Star Wars meets Phantasy Star, which is beginning on February 23rd with an awesome group of players who will be announced sometime next week. And so definitely please support that. It doesn't require any money from you or anything else. It just means that you will send out a tweet or a Facebook post right before the stream begins on the 23rd as kind of a thunderclap of social media, basically. So thank you all very, very much for being here. And yeah, we'll be with us for about another hour or so.
And Alligator Alley has an absolutely gorgeous, it's adorable little alligator mascot on there. It's so cute. I love it. Just want to scrunch up his little cheeks before he bites off your face.
Exactly. Yes. Oh, also, hey, Will, can you do me a favor after? Are you able to stick around for like a minute or two after the stream is over? Is that cool?
I can do, yeah.
Okay, good. I need to speak to you, sir. No, I just didn't want to talk to you about something briefly.
To me after class.
Yeah, and I just realized I forgot to do that before. We're being followed by Fungineer, the Fungineer of emote fame. Wow.
What's up, buddy?
That's dramatic. That's awesome. Okay, so everyone's back. Let's do it. All right, so what we need to do then is we're going to do an embarkation roll. So as you guys may remember, or for those of you who do not, the journey rules work as follows. The journey rules just starts with embarking, and so the way this works is you have to split into 4. So we need a guide, a scout, a hunter, and a lookout. And I believe that in this particular situation, I think you guys said that you were going to have Robar as your guide because he is knowledgeable of this area, if I'm not mistaken, but correct me if I'm wrong. Then we have the scout, who relies on stealth and investigation. Who's going to do that?
Maybe River should do that. Just because there's stone to help with that.
Okay, that's fine with me. It's up to you guys.
Wait, that's what?
That's the scout.
That's so investigation and
Stealth
stealth
are the major ones. Yes. And then a hunt, and I'll tell you the other two, and then you can decide. Hunter will be in charge of finding food, and that's I think Tawny Bear did that last time, but that's up to you. And then
survival.
And then that's survival, and the lookout is perception. That I think was Inga, if I'm not mistaken.
I can do that.
So it's up to you guys.
I'm happy to do either the scout or the hunter.
What was hunter again? Sorry.
Finding food.
Finding food, basically.
No,
yeah.
I mean what
survival.
skill? Survival. Okay, so yeah, it's the same for me. Whether or not I do lookout or hunter.
So she's got basically River's got proficiency in investigation and in survival, but she gets to do investigation at advantage with stone.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I think is the general.
I've got proficiency in survival. So.
Yeah, I have also proficiency in survival
And
perception in both. So
Everyone can do everything, but
No, not everything. I have no proficiency in investigation or perception.
okay.
okay, then I'm gonna do lookout.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So
Sounds
River is
good.
the scout, Tawny Bear is the hunter, and Inga is the lookout.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So for the guide, I would like you, please, to roll a 12-sided die for me, please, and you're going to add to that your survival proficiency bonus plus.
Ooh, that's 5.
Sorry, which is what? With 5?
Yes.
Plus half your wisdom bonus.
Which is math. 1.5.
Which is okay. So round that down. So 1.
Yeah, 1.
And then you're going to subtract 2 because that's what the peril rating of this journey is.
This is like a formula. I've got 1d12 plus 5 plus 1 minus 2 is what I'm rolling.
So 4. So 1d12 plus 4.
14.
All right, that is a pretty good embarkation roll. All right. Let's see. So that's good with that. Okay, good. All right. So let's see. You guys set off along the way, and the DM rolls a couple of things. Let's see.
I make sure to avoid all rivers.
Except
Hey!
for the one that's with us.
Except, yeah. We carry on with us. Sorry,
All rivers, okay. So the first day proceeds relatively uneventfully. You leave at about 12:45, 1 o'clock or so, and proceeds relatively uneventfully for a number of hours. And then, as time continues... Okay, and then as time continues... Okay.
You die.
All right. Yeah, and then you die. No, you do not die. At least not yet.
Small, unpassable river.
creek is in our way.
It's only
And
6
Robot can't
and a half-
cross it.
Yeah, robot can't cross
Why?
running water. He's like a vampire.
No. He's like the wizard from the Gamers, who has like a paralyzing fear of water. That's him now.
That's
It's
funny.
only 6.5 inches wide, but it's moving at ultrasonic speed.
Exactly. Okay. All right. As you are proceeding along, Tawny Bear, you are probably a good 4 or 5 hours away from the river when you notice there is a very strong stream which seems to extend. If you had to guess, it's coming from probably the western, the foothills of the Misty Mountains to the west, and goes down a long distance. It's not a river, but it's definitely more than like a little brook. You know, it's a pretty decent sized stream. And as you're going through it, you see a glittering in the water as you are walking alongside this creek. And as you look down, you see a huge silver salmon, like massive. Like it's been a long time since you've seen a fish this size, that is swimming along very slowly. Doesn't seem to be paying a lot of attention right now to what's going on.
Now that is a sizable fish. Made quite a few steaks out of that guy.
Mm-hmm.
River,
Yes?
you ever seen a salmon that size before?
Nope.
No. It's enormous.
What about you two?
Can't say
Dinner?
I have.
What?
Dinner? There? Now?
Oh, dinner. Okay. I didn't hear that, but
Looks like a salmon from a story.
it does a bit, doesn't it?
Does it grant wishes or something?
That
We should
was
ask
going to
it.
be my next question. Should I try for it?
Yes.
Go on
Absolutely.
Okay.
You.
Now, how are you going to try to do this, Tawny Bear?
I'm going to shift into a bear and knock it out of the water.
Yeah, I was going to say. Okay.
Can't turn
Wrong
into,
game.
Ha-ha!
I can't turn into a bear, so it's not
Oh.
fun.
What can you do?
I have some fishing line. And I have a small hook. Well,
Wait, is it swimming really lazily and slowly?
It is, and,
And it's really
fairly shallow. I mean,
Probably just reach in and grab it.
Or shoot it with an arrow?
how many times have you done that?
Grab salmon
Just
out of the
reached
river.
in and grabbed a salmon.
Once or twice.
Actually, the arrow isn't a bad idea.
Want me to try?
Mind you, if you shoot it, then I'm not sure how it would feel about granting us wishes.
I mean, fishes granting wishes is fairy tales.
Yeah, I'm hungry.
This has nothing to do with reality.
so you know this
So-
is the hunter who's going to be making this roll.
Yeah, I know. No, River is just very, very amused by it.
Yeah, he's gonna.
I will write you such a song, Tawny Bear, of the fishing of this salmon.
You probably shouldn't. And he's gonna just
Take it
jump.
to follow Smoby. Okay.
He's just gonna jump for it.
It's gonna jump for it.
Jump for it.
All right. Make a survival check for me, please.
Okay. 19.
All right. Let's see. Okay. So you leap for it, and there's a moment that all of you notice where Tawny Bear is suspended, almost in seems like suspended animation over the stream, and there must be at some point in the salmon's mind the shadow of something over it that startled it. But as it started to dart away, like down goes the body of Tawny Bear, massive splash of water, echoes for miles. No, I'm just kidding. But it does, he does land on top of it, and you feel this wriggling and pulling up above it. Up comes the hand of Tawny Bear out of the stream bed, holding this magnificent silver fish. Stone is like wagging his tail furiously, and clearly is interested in going to check out this salmon in its stomach by consuming it whole.
Hooray!
So yes. If you guys wish to cook this, because it is now about 6 hours, I said, so it's about dinner time, actually, right around that time. You could do that. It is the best fish. Like, it is spectacular.
Certainly granted my wish.
Yeah.
My wish was for a full belly.
You definitely got a full belly in this one. If anyone has a level of exhaustion, although I don't think you do at the moment, it can be removed. But that seems to work for you. As you were sort of, as you're looking there, and this is, again, about 6, 7 o'clock at night. The question is, do you want to, it's obviously getting dark by now. Do you want to continue after dinner and continue to march on by night, or make camp?
I would prefer to continue.
I think I would as well.
Yeah, time is not our friend in this.
Oh, that's fair. Although we are heading into the woods, where we know these people to presumably be, and we're just, well, if we're not going to rest, we're not going to rest. That's fine.
We can
don't
rest
need to.
later.
Yeah. Is there any salmon left over?
I mean, well, I don't know. That's a good question. Is there? I should ask all of you. I mean, there cannot be, but if there's not, you will not want to be eating for a couple of days. This is a big fish. Yeah.
I can pack away a lot of.
Okay, that's fair enough. I mean, you do have Lillimon,
eat,
and
like,
you have the animals too, so that's fair. Yeah, no, probably
Horses
not a lot.
don't eat
Sure,
fish.
Lillimon would love some salmon. Eat it.
Did you know, Inga? Did you know that deer sometimes eat
Birds.
ducklings?
Eat what?
Ducklings.
Yes, I did know that. Horses do too.
Yes. Sorry, I just thought that. I mean, maybe you just want to crunch all the bones for the calcium or something.
Wow.
Also tastes good, apparently.
Did you not know
They're
that?
usually just
I
too
didn't know
lazy
that, no.
to hunt.
It's
So
yeah, in
if they get the opportunity,
don't.
they will eat meat.
What
But-
kind of deer?
in Scotland,
All deer.
where there's like a very
All
little
deer.
in the way of calcium for deer to have and stuff, they will become carnivorous and just go.
Wow.
Where I live at the moment, we're in like a woods, and we're just surrounded by munkjack deer.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say munkjack.
And all night we hear like,
What the hell are munkjack deer?
Munkjack deer have little fangs.
Yeah.
Oh,
What?
those Chinese deer, yes.
You live near vampire deer? This only happens in Australia, where everything wants to kill you. This is not.
Seriously, I walked out the other day, and there's a munkjack
Vampire
20 feet.
deer.
Yeah,
Wow.
munkjack 20 feet in front of me just looked at me like, who? They're
Aw.
everywhere.
And then charged you. Rah! Like.
They ran back inside.
But anyway, so we're
No,
gonna.
we'll save. Definitely, Tawny's definitely saving some. There's no reason to get gluttonous about it. Just
Okay.
enough
Okay.
to fill us up, but not overly so.
Okay,
Yeah, you
great.
probably have enough for one more, like, not very filling meal after you really enjoyed yourselves, plus Stone, the meal before. But it was a delicious fish. Okay, and you guys are going to continue then throughout the night. I need to make about probably 3 or 4 hours later, I guess. I need all of you to make a perception check for me, please.
Do I get my wilderness bonus?
Sure.
I think Robot should get a 2, I think, as a wanderer, but I'm not sure.
What is the one? It's +2 or something like that?
Yeah.
Well, it's like your bonus is doubled.
Right.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I
yeah.
get +2, so it's
Natural
+4.
20.
Wow.
Very
Nice.
Oh.
Inga, you're like the fish, the delicious fish. Robar's like, I agree, the fish was delicious.
Very, very good.
You remember that
Very good.
fish? That was a good time. Good times, that fish.
About time we could fish.
So, Tawny Bear, you noticed something odd, and you pointed out to River, and River then sees even more. You notice that there's something odd. There are these rolling plains that you guys have started to go over, and you can see that there is what looks like you got the hill going along, but you see near the path where you've been following what looks like a set of ashes almost as if from a campfire. And when you look over there, River, you can see that there are indeed ashes, and it looks like maybe even some spare bits of wood and so forth. It's a little bit down from the path that you've been traversing, because as I said, it's a rolling hill, so it's like down the hill a little bit. But in this small little, the valley is a little too strong, but in this little depression in the earth, you can see these ashes and then a couple of pieces of wood scattered nearby it. You need to go closer to it, obviously, to see more, but...
It looks like there's a fire, the remains of a fire up ahead, and some sticks of wood left near the ashes. I think we're probably on the right track.
I would like
Shall
to
we-
go investigate that to see how old it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Somebody's kind of scanning around.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, River's the scout in this situation. Should she be investigating?
Well, I was assuming that was part of it, sure.
Oh, okay.
And your perception is still, I mean, I assume everybody is, but your perception is part of what's going to lead you to, what I'm about to describe. So when you all go down into this valley, you all notice that there are indeed these ashes. There are pieces of wood, and there's actually one what looks almost like a stump. It's not set in the ground though. It looks like a piece of wood that maybe has been stood on one end, that's big enough to actually sit on. That's right next to the fire. Basically, almost like it was being used for a seat. But what you discover as you're sort of looking down at this fire river is that there are what looks like broken pieces of some metallic thing that is in the ashes of the fire, glinting in the ashes of the fire as you hold your torch, which I should have asked, but I assumed everyone was using a
Right.
torch. But I believe everyone has a torch. So it's glinting off of the torch that you're holding.
Huh. Well, River will want to look closer and investigate what they are. Are the ashes hot?
No, cold.
And she'll reach into the ashes and pick up the pieces of metal to look at them closer.
Okay, Inga, your best guess is that this camp was abandoned a couple of days ago, probably. Definitely not anything recent, super recent. What you see are what looks like the broken metallic pieces of a large knife. It's not a manufacturer you're familiar with, River, but it's definitely pieces of a knife which appear to have been snapped somehow, like a blade that's been snapped.
May I have a look at that?
Yes, here.
Okay, so I have a look at that too. Does it tell me anymore as like a dwarf and stuff?
No, except that it's not dwarven make either.
And there are no markings on it, on the blade at all, of any kind?
There is no marking on the blade, no.
Is there any, are there any traditions or anything she's aware of like knife breaking ceremonially or anything like that?
No, but there is the tradition of wondering where the hell the hilt went. Because normally, blades have to have a hilt, and all you see here is the blade.
Is
Can we look
it
around?
kind of a crude sort of metal, like an orcish pig iron, or is it
Do you want to take a look at it, Tony Bear?
Sure, I guess.
And pass it around.
Almost certainly, Tawny Bear, this is a Bjorning-made knife. Almost certainly. You've seen it used. In fact, you might have used something yourself. They are known for being rather large and functional, so they're designed to be able to gut fish, kill animals, and destroy orcs if need be. Like, they're multi-purpose, basically. But they're very large, sizable knives. So breaking it off, it's certainly not impossible to do it, but breaking it off would have been... You would have had to go make an effort. Like whatever this wasn't just I used it in combat and then it snapped. It was someone pulling or pushing or doing something to literally stress the metal to the extent that it would do this. And also, there's no hilt, as I mentioned.
Right.
Can we look for the hilt?
You certainly can if you wish. Sure. Where do you guys want to look? Specifically.
Well, at like tossing distance, I guess.
Okay. Make an investigation check for me, Inga. This one you're not doing though at an advantage or anything.
Well,
Wow.
You're like, guys, ashes
I
right
found
here.
it. You got the knife there.
River will actually, I mean, if it looks like Inga, what are you looking for?
The hilt.
Huh.
But all I see is pebbles and dirt, ashes.
Well, probably, I mean, any scent has probably been burnt off it, but, I mean, Stone and I can try to look for it as well. Though presumably, I mean, if the blade was being broken, maybe it was partly to separate it from the hilt.
Maybe.
Which might suggest that the 10 or so fellows that we're tracking might be Bjorning.
Unless, I
I'll
mean,
take a
there's
look
one.
now.
Does this look like a fire that it was for one person or for several?
That's hard to say. I mean, one fire could serve for many. It's not
There's
a
one-
huge. It's not a huge
yeah.
fire.
There's
I-
one stump, right? There's only one, like...
Correct. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. And it's actually more like a piece of sort of separated wood almost. So.
Oh, like these logs that you like cross-cut several times?
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
put fire
Yep.
in this- Ah, okay.
Yep.
yes, yes.
Yep.
Can I a hobbit lay here? You know,
Is that a verb?
Hobbit
yes.
lay?
Do hobbit lay here. You know, like touch the ground and be like, Bjorning with a slightly, you know, shaven head lay here. And move for a moment.
Right. You just.
Go full Aragorn.
Like,
Want to be able
I
to
don't know,
do
like
that.
an investigation check, see if anyone, you know, made obvious signs that there are multiple
Yes.
people around. Or
You can do that for sure. You can make an investigation check, and if you want, River, you can do the same if you're
I'll
looking
do
for
the
the knife.
same, yeah.
what madness brought me to the West End doing Vales?
So
Don't you know?
one thing quickly. So Robar, from what you can tell, there's not a lot of disruption around this camp. Not a lot of extra tracks that you can see, which means either that you're following people who are extremely skilled at concealing numbers, or this was not the camp left by numbers. That this is maybe one or two people would have used this maybe. What you discover, River, is actually buried in the ashes, just visible above it, is a kind of a thick wooden, half-burned piece of wood, but it is not clearly rough wood. It's shaped like you didn't pull it out of the ashes, but it's definitely not like regular wood.
Well, she pulls it out and looks at it and
Looks
hands
very
it
much
over
like a
to-
hilt. Looks very much like a hilt.
Honeybear takes it and says,
when we were in the village, did they talk about so they didn't find the knife or anything that had done
True.
the deed?
True.
And
Wait, I take that back. Yes, they did.
No,
they found.
they did.
They did. Yeah. It was the knife had been sort of he had stabbed him, and then he was holding. Well, Oderic was holding this knife above him. The blade. This blade though does not have any blood stains on it that you can see.
but it's also been in fire.
True.
But
Yep. That's right.
Okay.
Tawny, as you're looking at this hilt, on the end of the hilt there is inscribed a single letter. It's the letter O.
I was going to say, and Tawny's a woodwright, so.
Yep.
I'm not sure.
It's inscribed with the letter O, and the thing I would say about it is, the O is, the craftsmanship on the O is experienced. That like this is like the Bjornings typically will do this to sort of mark property. They'll just put like their first initial or something because and they'll put it in somewhere where it's visible. But there are some that take more pride and time in it than others. In fact, you can actually remember having discussions with people about how, these younglings don't understand anymore, like the real way to do it. But the old ways are really where they took time to draw it. This looks very much in that older style, if you had to describe it. Not that the blade necessarily is old, although it might be, but that whoever did this was doing it in the older style.
Isn't Oderic's adopted father also a woodwright?
Yes, that's true.
What is a woodwright?
Someone who works with wood, right? Like a
Carpenter?
Yeah, but more of a like a craftsman, a sort of a sculptor
more
of wood
artistic.
almost. Yeah, more
Yeah.
artistic. Yeah. Hey, Cairo,
Okay.
what's up, man?
Because I'm also a carpenter. Just pointing.
Right. Yeah.
So many carpenters. We should definitely just be passing these things around.
Yep. So what I've
mean,
described is what
Clearly,
you
Inga
eventually
has
all
sees all the things tonight. So
Yeah, exactly. Sees everything. Yes.
Yeah. And all signs seem to point to this having been Oderic's blade.
Or Odo's.
Oh, was that his name?
It was.
Odo, Odo was the one that was with Maravich.
Oh. Oh, of course.
oh yeah.
And Maravich's sword wasn't on him, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Huh. Well, I guess we're going in the right direction. Shall we?
Really? Robar, say, do you know who usually lives in these lands, perchance? Like, could it maybe be that Odoric maybe made some friends or something here?
Same question for Oven, I guess.
The thing about the West Anduin Vales is that for a long time, this was an area which was sort of well maintained by the people around it, the mountain hall where the woodmen had their sort of westernmost outpost and so forth. But then it fell into some darkness with smog, the desolation on the other side of Mirkwood, and the sort of increase of the goblins. After the battle in the Five Armies, that calmed down somewhat. But the West Anduin Vales doesn't always have the most pleasant history. There are still lots of bandits that you know of that sometimes make their way here, outlaws, basically people that want to avoid detection, not unlike the fugitive that you're pursuing at the moment. So this is not always the most hospitable land or the most honest.
Like, what if maybe Odoric, maybe there were bandits in the area and he kind of joined them? Could that be a thing, maybe?
Possible.
It's possible, but I mean, it still looks like only one person was here. So I think that it's possible we're still on our quarry's tracks.
This must be Odoric, right? I mean, Blade with an O on it, camping alone. We're not far away from him. He may be going to meet some other people, but I think he's just running, and I think he's trying to lose everyone in the forest because he knows that it's not only us after him. Looks like another band, maybe Bjornings, maybe after him as well, or it may just be that they happen to be in the area at the same time. But either way, he's running, and we need to find him as quickly as possible before anyone else does, no matter who they are.
And let's press on then.
Right.
I think we've gained everything we can from here.
Okay. All right. So you continue to move through the night. Now, I do want to, this is not telling you you have to do this. I do want to remind everybody that if you do not rest, sometime the next day, you will be at risk of getting exhausted, running a level of exhaustion. So just be aware of that as you proceed forward. So the next day you travel for probably more or less a good 8 to 10 hours. And at this point, I'm going to just sort of show you folks where you are now. Probably about there, maybe a little bit higher. So about there on the map. And you, as you're sort of making your way up, you see from a distance, and this doesn't require checks from anybody, there are trampled grasses, there are and things like that that you see nearby, and it looks as if there's a great disruption, like you're just walking along the plains, rolling plains, and then this one area that looks as if there were, there's a lot of stuff that seems to be out of place. Again, you'd need to go closer to it to see, but it's almost in a direct line between you and what you can now see at a distance is the edge of the wood that you were approaching. So there is a wooded area that you're approaching, still in the far distance, but in front of you is this trampled down, grass and stuff like that I mentioned.
And how close are we to exhaustion at this point?
Well, I would say you probably would need to rest in the next 4 to 5 hours to avoid it.
Okay. And is it daylight yet at this point?
Yep. It is daylight. It's the next day. So I have it at about, maybe 10 o'clock or so.
Okay.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I take that back. It's not morning because you went through the night. Yeah, it's probably about midday, actually.
Midday. Okay.
Maybe it would be smart to maybe hide during the day and travel during the night to be avoided to avoid being caught. Maybe like running into the others. Kinda. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do, but I don't see that well at night and would need a torch. And
All right,
that
you people
would-
don't see well at night. I forgot. I'm sorry.
Well, neither does Odoric.
That's
That's
Yeah,
my
that's
only-
true. That's why I
that's
was
my only-
thinking.
Counterpoint to that is if we're at a disadvantage and so is he. But he's one man in a night, and it is a lot easier to track the 4 of us. There are 3 of us. I can count. I'm just very tired, actually.
That's all right. So sorry. So to recap, we've come to the edge of the woods, and there's some trampled down area.
I wouldn't say edge of the woods. You can see it in the distance, but
Oh, we
you're
can see the
probably
distance.
still a good hour, 2 hours away from it. Like it's very far distance. But where you are close to you, you can see this trampled down grass and so forth.
All right. Well, shall we head into the woods, or do we want to rest before we go into them?
I think it would be wiser to rest inside the woods because they could give us better hiding. Unless there's something fishy about these woods. I mean, we've been through the Mirkwood, so.
Have you? It's very impressive.
I have actually been through there a bunch of times, but yes.
Huh.
Only twice.
Well,
I don't know these lands here, so.
no, they're
Go on.
unfamiliar to me as well. But I only wonder if we should. I mean, any cover afforded to us in the woods will, of course, be afforded to others who may be there. And if we are not well rested, then I only wonder. I would want us to be at our best if we had to confront anyone. But I will leave it to our guide to suggest what should happen next. Although, should I investigate we could always go to the edge of the woods, or investigate this matted down area that's right here. Should we do that?
And it's pretty much it's directly in line between you and the edge of the woods in the distance. So
Okay.
I think before we decide, let's get all the information.
Okay. So we're going to investigate this area.
Okay. Is anyone else joining her to do that?
Sure.
Okay. So then River and Robar, please make investigation checks for me, please. Okay.
You guys with your rolls.
I know, right? Okay. Both of you, when you get closer to this, can see that this is more than trampled grass. River, you find wooden splinters, very large ones, that look as if they might have been hewn from perhaps a shield. You find, Robar, a broken spear haft sitting here. There was clearly a battle in this place, a fight. And as you're sort of processing, I'm going to Aragorn it up for you here for a minute, Robar. As you're sort of looking around there, you begin to imagine what it might have sort of looked like. You can tell here, if you had to guess, there is one sort of person, as you're imagining it, that's sitting there, and then beset by many others. You can tell that there is sort of one spot. In fact, as you're looking at the tracks, there's one spot where one set of tracks seem to be circling each other, as if someone was kind of like standing and then trying to back up, go forward, but was in a very limited space. And then a bunch of tracks that are sort of around on the outside that you can see. And as you sort of, look at all of these different kind of things, at some point you see that the grass that I mentioned was matted is matted in a line, as if something at the end of this was dragged off in the direction of the woods. Although I do want to emphasize again, the woods are a long way off, like an hour.
Right.
But the point is they're from this spot dragged off. You would almost bet that this was a battle of some sort. Whoever was here lost, and then whatever happened to him, you don't know. But something was dragged from this place towards the woods.
I indicate this. I think time might be more pressing than we had first realized.
I think so. It looks like the people who were chasing Oderic may have actually caught up with him and captured him. And it looks like we're heading to the woods one way or the other. The question is now, if we are looking to expect confrontation, well, for one thing, we don't know whether or not he's alive. Although,
Don't say that.
I mean, if he were being dragged off as opposed to just left there, then
They're taking him somewhere.
They're taking him somewhere.
With him.
So the question is,
Probably something not pleasant.
are we mounting a rescue or not, I suppose?
There are 10 or 12 of these guys, we reckon, Alvin?
Probably. Yeah, there's a good number of these. And by the way, the same, Gru, this is Adventures of Middle-earth, actually. This is episode 3, Kinstrife and Tidings in Wilderland Adventures. Yeah, probably 10 or 12. The same heavy-booted look, though, is what you see here. Like, it's the same, like, the grass is pretty heavily matted down in those spots. And that's the other thing. I should have mentioned this before. Those tracks that I mentioned that were close to each other are much lighter. The ones that are on the outside are much heavier.
Right.
I think we have to follow after them and
fast.
fast, because we have to put a stop to if they're just killing them out here. Inga made a promise.
I do intend to keep it. So let's move.
Remind me what the promise was. Sorry, I know that
The
I was
promise
right there.
was that when we find Odoric, that we are gonna hear his side of the story first before we cast our judgment.
That's right. Okay, cool. And either way, I mean, we want him alive for judgment, whether so. All right. Well, let's carry on.
Okay. You guys proceed about another, as I say, hour. Oh, yes.
As we're walking, River will sidle up to Tawny Bear and just sort of ask, "Are you doing okay?"
But now I'm just very, very tired.
All right.
Yes. And you are, by the way, all feeling very tired.
And I am.
So this all works.
It's life imitating art. Vice versa.
Okay. When about sorry, did you want to go further? Are you good, Amal?
Well,
Sorry.
no, River was basically just going to sort of encouragingly pat his back in a sort of sympathetic "I see you" way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you all feel a little bit sort of not weighed down in a shadowy way, but you definitely feel the sort of weariness of the trip. And again, the terrain has not been awful, moderately difficult here and there, but definitely the sort of stress of the last few days, some of the revelations in Stonyford too might have been weighing on you. And of course the near escape at the river for some of you, all sort of kind of weighing you down. As you get closer to the forest, you can see, as you're getting closer, this sort of sparsely wooded area. It is a forest, so you can't just, look through it. But definitely there's space between the trees. This is not dense like Mirkwood or deeply dark. This is not an ancient forest of the world, but it is a forest. And as you get closer to it, you can see again, the grass has sort of gotten lower and lower in height. But just as you are getting to the very edge of the woods, I'd like everybody to make an investigation check, and I'd like the the scout, to do this at +2.
Okay.
15 this time. Not a natural one. That's good.
Got an 11, 15. Okay. So
I'm at advantage +2.
Not advantage, just
Because I was like, 'cause Stone is there too, but
Oh, that's true. Yeah, for Stone. Okay, that's fair. I forgot about Stone. Can't forget about Stone. Yes. So, but wait, is Stone is advantage or +2? Stone is advantage when you're investigating.
I'm pretty sure that's what I read.
Okay, that's fine.
And...
That's fine. So then,
when you make intelligence investigation, you gain advantage and count as proficient,
Got it.
even if you are not.
Got it.
That's right.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. So then all of you are able to see. Robar, you're not 100% sure. There's something a little odd about this, about the edges of the forest that you can tell, but you're not exactly sure what. However, Inga and Tawny and River have a better idea of it, you think. There are tracks in the mud right near the edges of this forest, and trees have been hacked down for firewood. This is the thing that you noticed, Robar, that there were sort of these trees that were hacked down and not particularly well. Moreover, Tawny, you noticed this in particular in your role as a hunter. There are no birds or deer or anything that you've seen for a long ways. It's not like a sort of dark, nothing moves. But if you had to guess, everything has been removed, like killed off, perhaps, within several miles. If you put all that together, no game, tracks in the mud, your guess is that there are a group of these, again, armored somebodies, that have come this way, a lot of the same signs that you saw elsewhere. The hacking down of the firewood is indicative, for those of you who have experience in the land of being in the forest. These people are not woodwise. The chopping was done very sloppily. These are not people who cut efficiently even, but they certainly cut a lot, because there's a lot of wood that's missing from the edges here. And definitely significant enough to suggest that there is a decent-sized group of people that's somewhere nearby.
They're not far from here.
This is not good. There are clearly several of them. They're not my people, given the way they've handled an axe.
Nor mine.
Actually, Tani, I'd like you to make... Do you have lore or traditions?
Lore.
Give me a lore check, please.
Okay.
And actually, River, while you're at it, you can give me a lore check as well, if you have it.
I have traditions also.
Traditions works. Whichever. The traditions I'll take also.
16.
Okay. I'll tell you what that means when I see River's.
Sorry, like everything slowed down.
It's okay. Boom. You'll determine nothing. Okay. You're like, there be wood in them hills. Yeah, you're not really sure, except as you say, it's definitely not woodman. But Tani, you think you have an idea. You remember having seen wood that was chopped like this before, but it was a long way from here, very far to the south in some of your older days of as a warrior. This looks to you like as you're looking at the woodcuts, cuts that were made by the cruel axes of some of those who live in the south, perhaps strangers from the south. Definitely not native to this region, and if they're anything like the people that you fought many years ago, not good people. Cruel, ill-favored men, perhaps.
Oh, communicate that.
Well, I think that...
We've only got one choice here, right?
No, we always have more than one.
And what would those choices be, if I may ask?
Now, one of them you're not going to like.
Do tell.
Abandon this and go home.
Sure, yeah, let's do that.
Way too far for that.
Oh, well.
Didn't realize you were so eager to cross the river again.
I didn't say that.
No, I was...
I'd go up to the fort. This much wood. Either they are planning to stay here for a fair while, or they are going to build a fire sufficient to make sure that there is nothing left of odor.
Oh no, I don't like that.
I think we know what's happening here.
Well, this is terrible. So, in terms of our options, though, if there are so many of them and only 4 of us, and Stone, I feel like what we should be doing is thinking of how to mount a rescue. And ideally an escape.
Can we not reason with these people?
We don't know. We don't know. I mean, I don't...
What say we should do? I mean, I'm happy to kill these guys.
Oh, well, I mean, we don't yet know anything of why they've even interested themselves in Odoric. I would rather try to speak to anyone, but it's difficult to know what... We need to know more, and we need to follow, but I feel like we also need to rest. But we can't waste any time.
So Inga has like visible rings underneath her eyes. Is like, I can go for days. Let's do this.
I mean, anything, we don't want to move quickly off a cliff. We want to be able to approach whatever situation's awaiting us with all of our resources. If they are in fact building a fire, we'll be able to tell when that happens.
But then it might already be too late.
This is true.
And
You
usually
can
these
see.
types of fires are done by night.
Right.
And I have the very, very bad feeling that this is going to happen tonight. So
I feel like if we sleep, we consign Aldrich to his death. Which
yes,
is not something we need to decide that for ourselves, not let it be on the on these people's terms.
Because
So-
if it is a pyre, he would certainly be atop it before it was lit.
Right. So how about we speak with them? And
well, first we should find out where they are, what the
Right.
situation is, and then come up with a plan that suits whatever
Mm.
situation.
The advantage we have there is that now not only are they apparently dragging someone, but a considerable amount of wood
yeah,
So they
can
should
come
be
They're
easy
slow.
to track as well.
and close.
And close.
and remain hidden whilst we do it.
Because why cut down wood here to drag it somewhere deeper into the forest? Just
They probably-
cut down the trees wherever you are.
They probably have a certain site they want to do this in. Maybe it's on a hilltop or something like that, but they want people to see. But it can't be far from here.
Robar, is it usual for Southrons to be so near, to be so far north in the Vales of Anduin?
It's a good question. Do I think this is unusual that these guys are here?
Not without reason. It's unusual for them to be up here unless there's a reason for them to be up here, unless they're
Yeah,
for some nefarious
They-
purpose maybe.
that they've traveled with intent.
Yep.
And is there? Oh wait, didn't Oderic come from elsewhere?
Yeah, he was adopted by them, by the Helmgut in the village of Stonyford, but he was not originally from there. He was from outside the village. Yes.
And no one has anyone talked about his appearance. Like no one's talked about him being specifically a Southron.
Right. Well, Oderic was definitely some kind of Bjorning. But,
okay.
So yes.
And I'm just sidebar grappling a little bit with how much racism are we preserving in in this iteration of Middle Earth?
Yeah.
Like, are we treating the Southrons en masse as like a cruel race of men who are mysteriously also dark-skinned?
No. And strangers from the south doesn't necessarily mean that.
Okay.
The south of here. It doesn't necessarily mean that they are that group.
Okay.
And yeah, it's more that they are not unlike some of the bandits that you might have slew.
Right.
Okay. That in dark times, some people turn to honor, some people turn to however you can get by, including robbing other people.
So this is not. We're not talking. Okay, that's cool.
No, not necessarily Southrons like that.
Cool. I didn't see them mentioned in the book, so I wasn't sure.
Nor are they riding elephants.
Yeah,
Oliphaunts.
exactly.
Let's
Yeah.
cross the mountains.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
so I guess we're at a pausing point here where we need to figure out what we're doing next in terms of just, or are we all keen to press on?
That's
or
the question I need
Yes.
to find out from
I'm
you.
keen to press on.
Absolutely.
I don't think we have any choice.
All right.
Okay.
And that's what we're going to do.
We're going to do that, and here's how we're going to conclude this. Number one, I would like you to make an arrival roll because you are at the end of your journey, as it were. So I'm going to ask the guide to roll a d8, and I'm going to ask you to roll a +1 to it, just a +1.
It's a 5.
So
Okay.
it's
So this is good for the following reason. Your decision to press on has left you in some ways exhausted, and you've gained a level of exhaustion. But before you mark that on your sheet, your arrival at this, you feel every mile you walked, you feel the aches and pains that beset your body, you feel the weariness of your journey. But Your feeling as you prepare to plunge into the woods after your goal is the weariness of someone who is engaged in good exercise, right? It's the weariness of someone who is doing the right thing. And so as you slip into the woods prepared to find whatever your quarry will be, your fatigue seems to slip away like mist on a summer morning, and you feel in some ways refreshed and invigorated. So you can take that level of exhaustion back.
Good, because I don't remember where to mark it.
Adrenaline.
And as
Very
you
good.
slip into the edges of the forest, in the very, very far distance of the forest, you think you hear the sound of a shout and a yell of men yelling at each other. And that, I think, is where we're going to leave it.
I hate these
for the day.
cliffhangers. Why? Why do you keep doing this?
Good stuff, guys. So you found somebody. We'll see who it is that you found as you slip into the forest. But good stuff.
And now it's Dindy.
Yeah. Dindy's like, hey, what pleasure. I haven't seen you in a long time. Let me tell you about the inn. And
Tony would just strike up a torch and just chuck it on the fire.
Well, I had this image that you were just going to do the Incredible Hulk Loki, just bash, 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 like with Dindy. Oh, man.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, that yeah.
That was fun, guys.
Yeah, it was fun. It didn't have quite the feels of the last episode, but it was made up for it with a lot of crossing river stuff. And I loved everybody being heroic to everyone. I will dive in. Oh, I will dive in. I will dive in too.
And Tawny just sitting there looking up at them like, these people. These people.
And Robar being like, I hope somebody It's just like the way down. But you got to Aragorn up, man. You got the tracking down. That's like one of the coolest parts of Two Towers film, by the way, is when they have them doing that at the beginning. It's awesome.
I really appreciate the fact that as you're Aragorning it up, you have put on your hood.
I have.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, I love it. Good stuff, folks. Well, we will reconvene, of course, next Tuesday, and we will find out who these people are that they have just discovered. I will start, as I usually do. Please tell us, Amal, where the fine people can find you, what new stuff you have coming out. Although I don't know what new announcements could be more awesome than the last two you made, but yeah.
There is actually a slightly more cool announcement. It is that I'm actually gonna get to have a conversation with LeVar Burton. Like next month, but we're apparently gonna record a conversation with him.
Nice.
Yeah, you can. So if you want to hear LeVar Burton reading a story of mine called The Truth About Owls, you can go to levarburtonreads.com. It's a really, really beautiful reading of the story. They did all kinds of cool production stuff to it. So there are sound effects. It's really wonderful. And yeah, it's a story about owls in part. And more precisely about diaspora and stuff like that too. I had a poem go up at Fireside magazine called Thunderstorm in Glasgow, July 25th, 2013. I don't know why I decided to put the date in there, but I never remember it when I say it. But it's stunningly illustrated by Molly Crabapple. And if you like the poem and or the illustrations, you can get a really gorgeous poster print of the broadside of it, which is just so beautiful. So that's at Fireside Fiction something. I can't actually remember. Just Google Fireside. It's there. You can also go to my website to keep up with stuff. It's amalelmohtar.com. So AMALELMOHTAR.com. And you can find me on Twitter at Tithenai, Tithenai, and I'm going to probably next week have launched a drip account. So if you are interested in subscribing to me talk about books and ideas and things like that, which is the thing I like to do, you can either read my column in the New York Times at the end of the month, or you can subscribe to my drip when it launches, probably early next week.
Cool. Very, very cool. Awesome. Good stuff as always today, and I will look forward to next week. Moving right up the line, Terry, nice, good stuff today as well. I liked the heroic leap to save your friend Robar. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, he is at this point her best friend.
Yeah, no, I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, they had like the whole road trip thing going on.
Yeah, they did go on a road trip.
oh, they
Family's
did. Yeah,
Castle.
no,
Yeah.
definitely. It was.
I brought you back to meet my dead parents. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're basically married right now. So.
Right, exactly. So, when not saving Dunedain from rivers, where can people find Terry here, there, and everywhere on the internet?
Well, usually over here, like usually I do post my art online, but I haven't been able to draw anything in 2 months. I have another doctor's appointment tomorrow morning.
Ooh, maybe he'll give you the
Hope that-
somewhat clear.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna ask him to do all the tests because nothing he told me so far to do has helped, which is kind of alarming. So yeah, fingers crossed
Okay.
that he finds something. But yeah, otherwise than that, next time you will see me here playing the next round of this beautiful adventure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Terry, and I will cross our fingers about the results of that. So, moving right along, up the line, we get ourselves to the green-screened Will. Good stuff today, Will. We had some good moments, I think, from Robar and more to come. Where will the fine people see you next here in the interwebs?
You see me next in a couple of hours' time. I'll be live on my own Twitch channel playing some D&D.
Who does that?
Nerd.
And we're all getting eaten by intellect devourers in that game, so should be fun. But I'm playing like a foul-mouthed dwarf, so he's not too worried about it, to be honest. Yeah,
Joke's on you, I have no intellect.
Exactly. My done stab. Get fucked. Yeah. Yeah. No, I had a lot of fun playing today. It was good to get back into it after I had like a nightmare of internet last time we were playing.
Yeah, no, everything held together nicely today.
So yeah, I've been streaming fine again for the past few weeks. It's been much nicer, and yeah, I've got a few announcements that are happening. Let's see, I got a new podcast out this month. A
Nice.
Call of Cthulhu podcast is coming out this month. We've got another podcast next month, and super exciting things happening in April that I can't talk about yet. But announcement to come. At the moment, I'm just trucking along in the second year of this month, and yeah. Stretching.
And it's
After that party on the other day.
the other part and that, yeah, it's good stuff. And of course, he did the hangover from yesterday's game. I was just gonna say, Wolf, that I saw a little bit of your epic Let's Play, Learn by Play on Saturday, and everyone was talking about how amazing it was, and I caught some of that session, so that was pretty sweet. Good
Oh yeah,
stuff,
I guess
man.
that is news. We're back on the D&D channel every Saturday for our second season, so yeah, that's a lot of fun. I recommend checking it out. The players are fantastic in that game.
Yep, good stuff. Thanks, man. Good stuff as always. A pleasure, and we will see him, of course, next week. And last but certainly not least, of course, poor tired Trendane, who should immediately go and get some sleep as soon as we log off here.
If you were going to ask where people are going to see me next, is that bad?
Yeah, it's
right?
gonna be
Well,
that
you're
bad.
not going to see me.
I was gonna say you're just gonna be going there.
Turn the camera off. But
I
That would
hope
be
you.
slightly creepy.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm
Watching
gonna
it nice.
gonna
Yeah,
live
no.
stream my sleeping. So yes, I want you to go immediately to bed. But before you do that, I do want you to tell people you're doing the City of Mist thing, right? Coming this week. Thursday. Okay.
It starts tonight. The Tuesday crew is tonight, and obviously the Wednesday crew is tomorrow. And Wednesday, big surprise there. And then I'm on the Thursday night crew.
Wait a minute. There are 3 crews now.
Yeah. It's the same way as it was with Blades in the Dark. You know, Tuesday night it's on Video Store Cowboys channel, and Wednesday night is on Unmade Gaming's channel, and Thursday night is on Speedy's channel.
I guess I didn't know that there were 3 different ones, and that frankly all of you were such tryhards. I really get. Is it seriously? Like everyone's like, oh, Arv plays a lot of D&D, and look at me, I play 15 times per day. Like, how is this even possible? Good
Yep, there are
God.
3 different crews operating in the same city.
Wow, that's pretty cool. All right, well that's good. And you're playing the Satyr, Calvin the Satyr, is that right?
Yeah.
All right.
Calvin Gannicus.
Calvin Gaddicus the Satyr. I look forward to having a chance to check in and see some of that because it looks cool. Last night we were chatting with Johnny about The Last Jedi, as you know, folks know on my stream, so we had a chance to talk quite a bit about that. Cool stuff. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Thank you as always, Trent.
And
Oh, yes, and?
just to prove how much I actually love this game, I forgot that there was a launch scheduled for the Falcon 9 Heavy while we were playing. Fortunately, it got delayed and it hasn't launched yet. So there's still like 40 minutes.
Well, because they knew
before
about the game. Because they were like, we can't launch now. Like, we've got to
or
wait.
there was a bird on the nose cone, something, you know. But yeah, it's going to be launching probably about 35, 40 minutes.
That's awesome. We'll check that out. Good luck. I think that's important for the world to have things like that working successfully. I've saved this for the end. I have posted over on the Cubicle 7 forums about this existence of this game, and I wanted you all to know, my players to know, that there are a bunch of people who have come on to talk about how they've been watching, inspired by the campaign, love it, watch it every week. And one of them in particular said, you need to tell your players that they are incredibly interesting players in and outside of game. So you're being watched and admired by people, at least on the Cubicle 7 forums, through the videos after the fact. So I wanted to let you know.
I want to add on to that.
Okay.
Because my aunt visited me yesterday and today.
Okay.
And she told me that she has been watching some of the VODs
Really?
from our streams. And even though she can't understand most of it because her English isn't good enough, she still enjoyed it very much. And she doesn't know anything about D&D or Lord of the Rings. And she says that she likes all of you. So
that's
she
cool.
thinks you're all very nice people.
Hi, Tari's aunt.
Well, she's not here right now. She's,
Well, no, but on the
back
VOD when she sees it. Hi, Terry.
Oh, yeah,
when she comes to this.
when she gets to this.
Yeah, you have to translate to German. Can you just what would that be?
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna dub everything, get like voice actors in, and yeah.
Could you please do that and then just so it badly dubbed? So we're like, what about this? And it's like, like a kung fu movie type of thing. Oh man. Well, that's awesome. Yeah. So a lot of people have been enjoying it. Obviously, no more than I have myself. Wonderful players, as I've been saying with all of my campaigns. But yeah, I love playing Tolkien with people that also love Tolkien. Good people and good players. So it's a pleasure to have you guys with me, as always, and I will see all of you next week. So with the exception of one person that I already spoke to, everybody else either go to bed or go do the things you need to do. Chat, can we get some love for all the people, all of our wonderful players today? And I will see you folks next bat time. Same bat channel.
Rip Trent.
Alrighty, folks. So that was good stuff. I really, really enjoy this stuff quite a bit. As I've said many times, I know I keep saying it, but I'm going to keep saying it because I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun to be able to play with people that enjoy this setting as much as I do, and I just love the way that it's done in the world is really, really great. So I'm really pleased to be a part of that. All right, that is going to do it for me over here. I want to thank all of my players for doing a great job here. And I am going to be heading over in about 45 minutes, 50 minutes or so. I'm going to be over at GOG with my Pen and Pixel show doing my Divinity Original Sin 2 playthrough. We hope to play D&D with GOG today, but unfortunately Pyron Jade is not feeling well. So we are going to reschedule, and we will do that next week. So this week, more Divinity Original Sin 2, and maybe we'll do some barrel and chest stacking as we continue to play through that game, which I've been enjoying actually quite a bit. But we will see how that goes. If you haven't done so already, please make sure to follow the stream. Please make sure to check out the Discord with !ARVCord. Please make sure to check out the YouTube channel with past broadcasts of this campaign and others. That's !ARVTube. Please, if you can, support the channel financially. !ARVShop will get you over to the shop where you can get merchandise for Infinity and Beyond, which is my flagship D&D campaign that plays twice a month. If you get a chance to check that out, that would be great. !ARVTreon is the Patreon, which is really kind of the financial backbone of the channel. So please, if you're able to support that, that would be lovely. A lot of good things for you. Remember, at the $450 level, we're going to get Arvanaut Idol 3, which is the third Arvanaut Idol contest, which is a short story contest that we run. At 500, I believe it is, we'll be adding another, 525 maybe, we'll be adding another Our Vocalist session per month, the voiceover group. And then at 600, we're going to have another Talisman tournament. So we got a lot of things that are coming up down the line if we can reach those goals, and that would be great. And the other thing, of course, besides the subbing system, please make sure to sub. Remember, $9.99. You can also sub. That means you can also inspire the players once per month, as Jay was kind enough to do a couple times today, at the right times, I think. But also, don't forget about the Thunderclap. Please sign up for that if you can. That's my Esper Genesis campaign, which is starting in a couple of weeks. I'm really excited about that. That's science fiction, basically Mass Effect Star Wars meets Phantasy Star, with a great group of players. We will tease the names of some of those players, the identities of some of those players this week, and we'll announce them officially next week. And in 2 weeks, February the 23rd at 8 p.m., the sessions begin. The Thunderclap will happen right before that, so 7:30 p.m. So please sign up for it, because we need to get up to 100 people. At last check, when I checked earlier this morning, we were at 35. Hopefully we've gotten some more since then. Really need people to do that. No extra money on your part. Doesn't cost anything extra to do it, but it can make a big difference this way. So please consider doing that, signing up for the Thunderclap if if you possibly can. ! Thunderclap for details about that. But that's going to do it for me. I'm going to rise up on out of here, and I will see you folks over at GOG. No raid today. I'm going to see you guys over at GOG at 4 o'clock. Thanks to my wonderful mods who made this awesome Dragon Spear, Kilobyte, Demiser. You guys are all the best. Thorg and Fungineer, who Fungineer, for some reason, is showing up as a mod, which indicates to me that Fungineer is probably Lawkeeper, who changes his name like it's going out of style, or it is someone from Twitch, in which case, hi, Twitch, and it's a pleasure to have you. But you guys are the best mods in the business, so thank you. Thank you to my subs, who, of course, include Dragon Spear, Kilobyte. Thank you to, of course, Brahms, Chaotix, Kooky Canuck, Stump-O-Matic. Stump, I'm sorry I didn't get your epic poem done today, but it will be done soon, I promise. Terry Tunes, of course, wonderful job today, and Uncle Elias. Thank you so much. Thank you to Amal, who was here. Great job again today, Amal. Thank you to Kalen, Chrono Travis, Counterjab, Cyborg Sellout. I love those names. Counterjab and Cyborg Sellout. I don't think I've seen you in here before. I hope you'll consider following and supporting the channel if you can in the future. Thank you so much. Thank you to DeRoyne, as always. Divinorium, Don Cairo, who plays in my Infinity and Beyond campaign, of course, is a really good player, good guy. Thank you to EKEG, to Encounter Roleplay. Great job today, Will. As always, a pleasure, sir. Thank you to Ghost of Christmas Future, to Heaven's Cloud, Jagtris, J-Rab. Thanks for the inspiration, J-Rab. Thank you to JLC, to MEXC, PKD Fan, Poltergeist Zero, Spurious. Thank you to Trendane. Great job, Trend. Now go get some sleep. Thank you to you, Christensen. Video Store Cowboy. What's up, man? Good to see you here. Video Store Cowboy did an awesome job, again, with the conversation yesterday and with Blades in the Dark. And thank you to Wolfstrike NL. Always a pleasure to have you guys here. That's it for me. Love you all. Best viewers on Twitch, and I will catch all of you wonderful people, he said as he quickly shut off the rushing river. I will catch all of you wonderful people very soon, hopefully 4 o'clock, but if not, then I'll definitely see you here on Friday for Pool of Radiance, where I'm going to be, I'm sorry, not Friday. Let me rephrase that. I'm not going to be having a normal stream on Friday because I'm going down to Farpoint. I forgot to make that announcement in Baltimore, so I may not have a regular stream. Maybe, I don't know. I doubt it, though. But Saturday night, I will be doing one live from the road with the power of Arvbox. That'll be Saturday evening, so definitely tune in for that. But that's it for me. See you guys 4 o'clock over at GOG for Divinity Original Sin 2. Until then, thanks, everybody. You're the best viewers on Twitch. Be good to each other. Have a good day.